Look at all our internet friends. Oh, that's her. There's him.
It froze.
Yeah, just start acting weird. I guess I shouldn't talk during the intro.
Yeah.
It scares the graphics. Hello, you beautiful nerds. Welcome to the Drunk Banthas podcast, where we talk about sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and all the popular art that we love. Also, we do it drunk. Mostly drunk. Always encouraged, but never mandatory. I'm Jedi Master Grayson, and I'm joined, as always, by your co-host and brother Bill. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. I said your co-host and brother Bill. It's like, he's not he's my co-host. He's my brother. Y'all don't have the same relationship with him. I don't know why I tried to put that on y'all.
You're doing great with words today.
It's a great start. I think it's going to be a great show. We have an amazing show for you guys tonight. We're talking Kite Man. Hell yeah. We're talking the final season of Umbrella Academy. We're talking the sci-fi film Borderlands. And as always, we're talking shit. And we can't do it alone. I mean, we could, but where's the fun in that? We are joined by...
Did that for a whole 100 episodes.
Yeah, that's old news. We got friends now. We are joined tonight by Jeff, or in Espanol, Jefe.
Yeah.
How's it going, Class Hargraves?
Pretty good. Pretty tired because I'm an idiot and decided to have my big having fun drinking with my friends on a Sunday. So yeah. Not 20s anymore, and that was the wrong idea.
Ugh. Yeah, every once in a while you get the "I'm not in my 20s anymore" recognition. Is like, oh yeah, damn.
I like to call those days.
Yeah, that's the time that I'm awake.
Unfortunately, we can't hop into a multi-universal subway and kick it to our best timeline.
Speak for yourself.
Bringing it all, and you make it full circle. I love it.
Yeah, time is a flat circle, but if you were in the Umbrella Academy, you don't adhere to at all. You don't adhere to the rules of time in any way, shape, or form.
Oh man, I do have to say, I mean, I think it's fair to say that Futurama does time travel the best,
better than anyone. Yeah.
Like that, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
Still a Back to the Future fan, but I would disagree.
I like Back to the Future too.
When we talk about physics and whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's when it becomes the most coherent. It doesn't get like confusing and shit.
Yeah.
What up, Othelius? Shout out to Othelius. Shout out to everybody who's watching all of the platforms. You know what I'm saying? We got to big up y'all all the time. You know what I mean? And shout out to all the people who just joined, Drunk Banthas members. We got a lot of hot shit coming out for you. There's already something up there right now.
Indeed. Yeah. So we got a quick review. Actually, it's like 15 minutes long. I've made a little review of Cuckoo, which is exclusive to our members. So if you guys want to get some of that sweet, juicy, sexy, sweaty content, as a member for as little as $1 a month, we're going to be dropping a little reviews like that. It's not as heavily edited as like the drunk reviews, but yeah, it's an opportunity. Like I see a lot of movies, it's an opportunity for us to chat about some movies that we've seen throughout the week. So yeah, become a member. You can see the real show behind the curtain.
That's right.
Also, if you haven't seen Cuckoo, go check it out. It was awesome.
It was pretty good.
Boom!
It was pretty darn
first. Good. You stupid bastard.
Not my favorite horror of the movie. Her movie.
No. Much it was interesting. It was definitely very Hitchcock-esque until you got to the end, and it's like, oh, here's the blood.
Yeah. Oh, this is what they were talking about in the trailer. Yeah. Also just wanted to thank I also wanted to thank everybody for watching my new X-Men video. You guys have been showing it a lot of love. It's over 3,000 views on both channels right now, so we really appreciate you guys watching that. Keep an eye out for my Deadpool and Wolverine review that's coming out soon-ish, but you can get it sooner-ish if you are a member, because you'll be getting that a week early.
Watch out there now.
What other plugs we got? Oh yeah, before we get started, I also want to remind you to watch the Bantha Bunch every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, hosted by your favorite cousin's favorite cousin, Bill. Billiam, Billennium, Billabong. What are you guys gonna be talking about on Thursday?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, I have no idea. But I will. But you know what? We might be talking about. No, you know what? Don't know.
It's a mystery.
Yeah, there's some documentaries out there though
that
I might be talking about. So just come on, pull up on me, man. And if you got an idea of what you want me to talk about on Thursday, let me know.
Yeah, leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
On the Banthas Bunch, they talk about nerd news. You guys talk about documentaries a lot as well, like specifically.
That's
so yeah,
right.
if there's anything you've seen in the documentary section on Netflix that you want to shout it out, or on anywhere.
Yeah.
I just said Netflix because I've been watching Netflix nonstop for the past 48 hours, catching up on Umbrella.
Oh.
But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. But let's get into it. Let's talk about what we're talking about. Let's get into our first subject of the night. We're talking about Kite Man. Hell yeah!
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah. I don't have an audio drop for that yet.
Honestly, I want us just to have an audio drop of Kite Man saying "hell yeah."
That would be
great. I'm messing up by not having that. Doing us a disfavor by not having that.
Thelia said y'all got to check out Catch a Kick Predator.
Interesting.
Catch a Kick.
No. Yeah, I saw that on Dog. I saw the Company Man talking about that on YouTube. Shout out to Justin Hunt, the Company Man. It's all happening. If you don't know who he is, punch yourself in the face. But a kick predator. To catch a kick predator is wild, and it is basically what you think it is. Like it's if you heard a kick, right, shout out to a kick. We got an account there. Shout out to them somehow. I don't know why we don't.
That's the part that threw me off because when I read To Catch a Kick Predator, I forgot that kick was like an app or whatever. I was just thinking kick as a verb. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. What is this documentary about? What is
I know
kick
some
predator?
of those words.
But no, that sounds super interesting. And it sounds like it's gonna have a really sad ending. So
yeah, we might be talking about Catch a Kick Predator, and also its relations to Drake. And also, we might talk about, some nerd shit. I also don't like things that are happening in nerd world. And we're going to have conversations about news and nerds. So that's cool. Othelia said the 69 God himself makes an appearance. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about, man. I told you.
Nominated for video for the druggies.
I was watching some highlights for a comedy podcast that I really love, and I'd fallen off it a bit. And so sometime in the last year, they started talking about, like, did you hear about this insane water slide back in New Jersey? It's like goes straight down a ski mountain and It was Action Park. And I was just like, are you just learning about this? That's the best documentary HBO's ever made ever. I've watched it 4 times. It's still entertaining.
I'll tell you a secret about that documentary. It was, I don't know if it was stolen or if they made it from what they did, but that was a Defunctland documentary on YouTube first.
No.
Yeah, I do remember Defunctland doing that. Yeah. Defunctland is awesome.
Defunctland, yeah, shout out to Defunctland. Come on the show. For being a bitch.
Yeah, come on, talk about fucking Dollywood or whatever.
Yeah. Come on and talk about lost secrets of Disneyland and shit. Like, come on over here and talk about the gnomes that got lost in Disneyland.
Story I don't want to get into, but I did go to Dollywood for my 16th birthday. That's a truth fact. But
for no reason.
I forgot. I forgot.
I didn't know that you grew up white.
I did not attend that birthday.
Hefe, did you actually have a Bantha book club installation today?
Yeah, I got 2. Which one do you want? Comic or novel?
Ooh, now I got these options. I want to go with comic. Yeah,
comic. All right.
Comic, yeah.
Today we are talking about from 2021, the Zero issue Milestone returns. So a lot of people probably won't be familiar with it. Milestone is a comic that has a lot of Black people. It is very much, uplifting the Black community. Some of the heroes that you've heard from them, Icon, he's from Milestone, and Static Shock, that's where he started as well. So DC re-released, they tried to re-jumpstart it. It didn't go very far, but it did start with Milestone Returns, the Infinite Edition 0. So this issue starts with a cop, and he's talking with some other cops. They're looking at these weird, looks like tear gas canisters, and they're like, are they ready? And they're like, yeah, they're good, use them. And then it zooms out and it shows a bunch of cops in full tactical gear, looking like they're about to go and, fight an army. So of course, what it actually is they're at a BLM movement, just a march, a very peaceful protest. Well, shockingly, the cops immediately go very violent, and they start throwing these weird tear gas canisters in there. And the thing is, these tear gas canisters, there's something weird with them. It's not that people are choking and crying and everything. Like, one dude looks like his face is melting. Another dude's like spitting up this weird, crazy monster. And then it focuses on this one African-American kid who lightning starts like shooting out of his hands.
Oh, shit.
This is their new version of the Big Bang for Static Shock.
Oh.
So then it moves to Verge just, in his bed, passed out. He's like a little bit of narration from him just being like, the next thing I remember was waking up, but it was days later, and we see his family around him. And, his sister's like, yeah, he's got a girl he liked, so he went there for her and da-da-da and all that shit. And then his dad's like, who, Othelius, you are not wrong, sir.
For our listeners, DC not picking up this one. They definitely not ready for a story that real. And just say real quick that I think that's why they haven't made an Icon movie instead of making all these Black Superman almost projects. It's like, y'all it's too real to go with the Icon version, because y'all already have your Black Superman. Y'all have to make cartoons.
By the way, so much more of a badass than Superman.
Oh, so much more.
Icon, so many more powers and so much cooler.
I mean, he's spawned with Superman powers.
Yeah, he's spawned, but his face ain't all burned yet. So
right. He's pretty.
I mean, he can really do anything. But anyway, so so we got Virgil. He's passed out. His parents and his sister are talking. His mom's like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened." His sister's like, he was at the protest, but there was also this kid at his school trying to beat him up. All that jazz. And then his dad's just sitting there talking like, I can't believe you let me take, he could have had his green belt by now and you let him quit. Well, I tell you, the second he wakes up, I'm teaching him to fight back. So his dad's all, I want my kid to kick the bully's ass. His mom's all, I'm very sad my son is clearly hurt and I hope he gets better. And his sister's just like, so let me give you all the hot goss. And then luckily Virgil wakes up. His mom just giving him a big hug. I'm so happy you're alive. And his dad's just like, all right, I'm glad you're up. The second you can walk, I'm teaching you how to fight. So then it cuts to what looks like a lunchroom, just like a normal lunchroom in an office. And there's these two white guys. There's a white guy, a white girl, and a black guy, and they're sitting around a table talking. And the black guy, his name is Curtis, is talking about how he's like, I can't believe this. I am so screwed. They're gonna come after me. Blah blah blah. It turns out those weird tear gas canisters we saw, he's the scientist that invented them. But he kept telling them, hey, these aren't ready. You cannot use them. And the white woman at the table is like, well, just tell them that. Just tell people that you said it wasn't ready. I'm sure it'll be fine. He just looks at her and he just flat out says, "Stop being naive." No. So
Wait, so did he turn to her? Did he turn to her and then say,
"Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go."
No, because that's what he does. He's very, very well aware they're going to try and pin this on him. So he gets up and leaves, and he's like, "I'm out," and he's flat out saying, he's like, "Do you think I didn't anticipate this? Do you think I didn't think that they were going to try and come after me? No. So he's like, "I'm getting ahead of this." And he gets in his car and he starts driving off. And he gets a call from like the secretary at this chemical company they're at. And she's like, "The CEO would like to meet with you." And he's like, "Well, I'm off campus. Does he need to meet now or can we meet tomorrow?" And she's like, "Tomorrow's fine." And he's driving to this to a darker, seedier part of town. And he's doing the narration where he's talking and he's like, "I knew this was going to happen. I know that they have my home under surveillance. That's a reason I didn't tell anybody about this lab. And I kept this lab on the DL." So he goes here and he strips out of all his clothes and he walks into a door that looks like it's just filled with like solar radiation or something. It's really crazy. But he walks in and his body starts changing. He gets covered and it almost looks like cold magma that's hardened, into rock. And he comes out and his eyes are glowing yellow and all this stuff too. And then the cops bust in and they're like, "Hey, we know you're armed, give up." And then literally kick the door open and start shooting before anything else. And now he's in like this Iron Man suit and the bullets are obviously bouncing off him. And here's the one thing I don't like about this issue is they have him start talking like more like thuggish, I guess. I don't know. Like they literally change like the entire time he's talking, everything's written out normal and stuff.
Like code switching.
Yeah, like at one point he literally says Faeva, F-A-E-V-A, and it's like he was just using ours a second ago. I think he knows how.
Yeah.
So it's
that
just
shit like that play forever.
And that exactly. But the thing is, like, it's very clear that they're trying to already make the reader dislike this guy. He's the criminal in this situation. So he's he's talking this way and he's presenting like that. And it's like, that's really fucked up. Just have him be if he's gonna go villain megalomaniac, have him do that. But so anyway, that's the only part I didn't like about this issue. But yeah, the cops are sitting there and opening fire. He's like, you don't even know if I was armed. You just literally opened with shooting at me. Well, let's wait till you guys see when I shoot back. And he's got some little wrist mounted things and starts shooting at them as they run off. Then we cut to this kid just on his cell phone. He's clearly live streaming. He's in front of a hospital. And he's just describing what's happening with all these bang babies. I believe that's what they call them in the cartoon.
Yeah, the bang babies.
The bang babies, right?
Always sounded racist. I don't know why. It just it was
like your baby's born of a prostitute.
The bang babies.
I mean, you're not wrong. So he's just talking about hey, look, these are all the kids who can't afford their own room. And it's got a room of at least 7 kids in there. One of them looks like he's constantly catching on fire. One of them's his skin's changing color and stuff. So they're already doing a smart move of setting up that hey, there's a pretty good amount of disparity in this town. The town's called Dakota, by the way. It feels a lot like they're trying to set it up like a Detroit situation. And he's just showing different things of these different bang babies. Next, he gets run off because some security guard sees him. So next we see him at this house, this dilapidated abandoned house. And he's talking with these 2 kids. One's got a muzzle face mask on. And the other one is that kid from the cartoon, if you remember, literally looks like the devil, red skin and horns.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's talking with these kids. He's like, so why are you out here? And the muzzle mask is like, well, after the whole thing, I threw up and it ate through the floor. So literally they just made Zeitgeist from the X-Men. Cool.
Yeah.
And the other one's like, are you kidding me? Look at me. I look like a demon. My mom actually thought I was possessed and tried getting my priest over to fix me. He's like, we have nowhere to go. So we had to go. So next they end up cutting back to Verge, and we see him just starting to use his powers. And it's funny because it's him talking about the early days and not really knowing how to. So he's like, at first it was really weird how they worked, and it literally shows him taking a shit. And when he's like, he accidentally shuts out he trips the circuit breaker for the entire house, things like that. Then they just show him like he's explaining like when he would get angry, he would use that and channel that into working with his powers better. And so now he's like, it's just showing him like the fine motor control, like, hey, grabbing something from across the room and using the stack to bring it to him and all this stuff. Then it shows when he was at the protest, and he was at that protest, and what was this idiot's name? Oh man, I forget his protagonist, the hothead guy.
Oh, hothead.
Francis.
Oh yeah, you mean his government name?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. His Christian. So Virgil gets to the protest and he's talking with Frida, who he likes, and Francis walks up and is like, oh, he literally calls him an Oreo in this, and then he's claiming like that he only showed up to the protest because he's trying to get quote some white booty when talking about Frida, who isn't white. Hot streak. Thank you, Athelius.
Yeah, thanks.
Hot streak.
Which all of it's hilarious because at this while this is going down, it's like, Francis, you're whiter than I am. And hello. So anyway, so he calls Frida a slut, and Virgil throws a punch, and they start fighting. But the thing is, it's Francis and his two buddies beating up on Virgil, and it's in the middle of a BLM protest.
Right.
Shockingly, the three white guys beating up one black guy at a Black Lives Matter protest, not going to go so well for the white guys.
Yeah.
So they start fighting, and then that's when it cuts back to the beginning of the issue, and they're saying that's when someone's like, please help, it's a riot. And that's why the cops threw the tear gas in.
Okay.
So we cut back to present time, and we got Virgil going back to school for the first time since this accident. And Francis is like, oh, I'm going to beat you up. And he Johnny Storms, he flames on. And he's convinced he's going to destroy Verge. But Virgil just jumps up and starts using his static powers in front of everyone. And it's like, man, bro. But he ends up shooting them at Francis. And like a bunch of people are like, oh, dude, you're going to kill him. Stop. And then other people are like, fuck it. Kill him. He sucks. And, Virgil has the classic hero's quandary. Like, hey, these powers are changing me. I got to decide how I'm going to change, blah, blah, blah. But again, exactly. But again, he does this in full view of everyone. So a cop comes up. And now it's like, this could get really bad.
Yeah.
But then every single person, including Francis, is like, nah, he just fell. We don't know what you're talking about. And so the cop's just like, whatever, fuck these kids, and walks off.
It's like fucking up.
Yeah. Then we cut to Icon and Rocket in Colombia. And Rocket's kind of talking a little bit about how she was so surprised when she found out this 200-year-old superhero lived on her street. And how she just asked him, like, hey, can you stop these drug dealers from harassing me and my mom? And then he did. And then the two of them together took out all the crack houses in town. And now they're in Colombia taking it out there. And it just shows them running through the forest, doing superhero stuff, taking out a crack house. It shows a bunch of Icon's cool powers. It shows him flying, super speed, super strength, laser vision. Also that cool like telekinetic eye move he can do where he just looks at all the guns and he just rise up and float away. It's dope. Icon's awesome. And then they're just sitting on the beach eating tacos because it's Tuesday. When he tells Rocket, he's like, "Hey, you got to call your mom." She's like, "Oh, okay." So she pulls out her phone, and it's the first time she's had her phone, like used her phone because they were on a mission or something. And that's when they see everything going on back in Dakota, and they're like, "We got to go back." And then to end this issue out, they show a bunch of the Bang Babies who like they had nowhere to go. It shows a bunch of them just at this one random house with this guy who's like, "We got power now, we can do it," and everything. And he's like, he's really riling them up. He's like, "Hey, they hated you before you had power." And this was an interesting one. He said, like, he's telling them, the names, thousands of them, all the way back to Emmett Till. So he's really trying to rile them up and be like, and tell them, "Hey, this isn't a new problem," which he's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Race jinx. We said unfortunately at the same time.
But
same sad.
But then he's like, "Hey, but now we've got power, so we can take it back." And so they're all like, "Yeah." And then they all start chanting his name. And the name he chose for himself is Holocaust.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
And that's the end of the first issue.
Oh my.
Just a bunch of people chanting Holocaust.
That is a chant. That is a choice for a name too. And I like that. Like
next week, issue 1 of Static Shock.
So this is just like an all-encompassing
so this first issue is that. And then they all went off into their own individual comics. This was the one that was supposed to try and give you a little bit of everybody. But they were smart enough to focus on Static because even with as big as Icon is, I think Static is obviously the most recognizable character.
Yeah. And I didn't even start reading Icon for real. Like I was aware of Icon, but I didn't start reading him until like after, strangely enough, Young Justice, when Rocket shows up in Young Justice. And I was like, who the fuck is this character? And then eventually Icon shows up too. And I was like, who are these black people that never existed in the Justice League? And then I realized it was part of the absorption of Milestone, and they have these characters now, and they're just like sort of introducing them in the cartoon. And I was like, oh shit, that's pretty dope. I'm gonna have to read these comics. And yeah, Icon is such a cool character. Rocket is also such a cool character, and yeah, Static is also a pretty rad character. Static has been more enveloped into the DC universe than Icon and Rocket.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I'm excited to like see where they're gonna go with all that.
Yeah, we only got 6 issues of Static, but it's going to be a fun read, and I'm excited to read it and relay it to everybody. And also, Othelius, he said, "I mean, if West Side Gun can name 9 albums, Hitler Wears Hermes, I think they'll be fine." Othelius, you think that's an interesting one? There was a British sitcom in the 90s, didn't go very far, called "Heil Honey, I'm Home," and it was about Hitler and his wife just living in the suburbs of London.
I heard about that movie. I saw a couple clips. I was like, this seems like
you can watch that on YouTube.
We need to have that. Hold on. We gotta pull that up.
He's like, I do not
want
just
this theme song is like, holy shit again. Heil Honey. I'm home.
Got that on the Bantha.
Yeah, I do not want to pull up Hitler on this podcast right now. But thanks for going. It's taking us through Milestone lore. Like I'm really excited to see how this reboot's gonna happen, because it started like a couple of years ago, right? So this was 2021, and then the Static 6-part series was literally right after this, also in 2021. I don't know if they folded Static more into the DC universe in general after that, but we at least got a good 6 issues. So I'm looking forward to reading those. And yeah, I think the next issues will actually be shorter, because this being the 0 edition and trying to cram in a little bit of everybody, I think was a bit longer.
Yo, son.
You just looked it up, didn't you?
I'm reading them like, I looked it up, and then I also am reading the synopsis, like little breakdown. Heil Honey, I'm Home is a British sitcom written by, doesn't matter, and produced in 1990, which was canceled after what episode? It It centers on Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun, who lived next door to a Jewish couple, Amy and Rosa Goldstein.
That is crazy. And also the IMDb rating should be lower. It's at
Oh, yeah,
4.5 right now. That's
It's at
too high.
4.5 and it's got 74% of people liked this show.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm a little ashamed of you guys judging it before you even watch it. I mean, that just seems rude.
I won't lie, I
very
am going to watch
close-minded.
this one 25-minute and 52-second movie. I mean, one episode. I can give it a chance.
I wonder what's like the best part of it, because I like this quote. I like this right here. Wow, I wish I could have been there for that pitch meeting. What would have been more interesting, that pitch meeting, or then after they're like, let's do it, them trying to pitch it to advertisers who are like, come on, the commercial will be fine. We got the perfect show for it.
Yeah, no, son, that's wild. What you got? Like, first of all, the first line that I read that blew my head off was Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun live. Let's just stop there.
That's already wild.
That's already off the fucking top.
That's pretty
I got some facts that are going to disagree with that one half a sentence.
Yeah, Ophelia said, I feel like Kanye would watch this show, and I think he would love it.
He's trying to get it rebooted.
Yeah, he's trying to get season 2, which is another just one episode. One episode.
Like, everybody loves reboots, right?
He wanted to stay next to the Robinsons.
Oh,
Or we just bring back the niggas from Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Niggas.
Look, now that is a good sketch. Now, see, if you want to do
That was one of his best sketches.
if you want to do a sketch where you had "Hi, oh honey, I'm home," we could nail.
Yes, I'm saying it seems like a bit from the producers. It doesn't seem like something that people.
Because the sketch would be satirical. The
Right.
show wasn't.
Right? No, I mean, even if they were trying to be, you can't do that for 22 minutes, man. This is not.
I'll also say this. I should say I have not watched the show. I have literally just watched the opening theme song. One, laughed real hard from that. And two, had no desire to continue to watch this show.
It's like, I think I've seen enough.
Yep.
But we have to move on to our first topic of the night. Kite Man, hell yeah. This is episode 5, Prison Break. This is a pretty crazy one. It might be my favorite one so far. Every episode is the last.
I looked up the hell yeah music. I looked up the Kite Man music.
Yeah,
it's stupid. I'm gonna have to get it here. I'm gonna have to get it on here for the next episode.
Yeah.
I literally just wanted him saying hell yeah.
Oh, I know. I want to get that too, but
you want the sting with the guitar and everything.
Yeah, I want to come up because like when we was covering the other shows, I could just come in with my music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
oh, hot D.
Yeah.
And
see, it's gone. See, look, now I just feel, oh man, we not talking about that no more. Hey.
Did you know Kit Harington hasn't watched a single episode of Hot D?
It's because he has to he probably has PTSD from that.
PTSD from
PTSD from getting one of the hottest women on earth to marry him.
His auntie.
Well, like there was that story about how he had to go.
No, in real life.
That was that story where he had to go into therapy and like hide out in the woods for like 6 months after the finale or whatever. Like everybody had to like
Why
really
call that camping in America? I don't know what they do in Europe, but they call it camping in America when they do that. Also, what does he got to be worried about, man? If he got PTSD for real, it's just because he ain't getting them checks.
Well, my guess is it's just people hating on that last episode, which fair.
They also got rid of this Jon Snow sequel. I mean, prequel, not sequel that was supposed to take place.
Yeah,
spin-off sequel series is what
I'll tell you what. The one I would have wanted, Arya. I want to know what's west of Westeros.
Thank you. That's clearly the most.
You know why you're never gonna figure that out, man? You never
because they don't want her going to America. I get it.
No, it's because y'all ain't even got an ending to the fucking story that we got.
Dude, tell me about it.
Anything in the future for that story?
I don't want to see anything until we get this done. Can we get a story done? Damn.
But let's talk about another HBO
shall we?
Series. Let's talk about Kite Man. Hell
Hell yeah.
After returning to the present. After returning to the present, Bane learns Rebecca was imprisoned but in his old home, the Pit. He, Kite Man, and Glider head there, where they discover Villigan's owner, Helen Villigan, purchased the Pit from the League of Shadows and is using brainwashed prisoners as slave labor. Now, as silly as this show is, this is like a very bleak parallel to real life. Like, it's like a pretty obvious commentary on the prison industrial complex. And like, what did you guys think of like this episode and just like those weird like parallels, and also just like this plot line of them going into the pit?
What parallels? What you mean the parallels?
Well, just like, they're using prisoners for like just like basically using them for labor, like just.
I mean, it has been pointed out several times that there's a lot of things made in America that the industry would collapse if we couldn't use slave labor anymore. I'm sorry, prison labor.
Yeah,
right.
Tomato.
Yeah,
tomato.
You pronounced slaves correctly.
But yeah, it's like a weird, like when I saw this, I was like, oh shit. Message.
That's where you went. That's cool. I mean, you know what? That's interesting. I went through the like Amazon type situation, like corporation type situation, like people who work for Amazon in these types of places are really just slave workers.
Yeah,
because they had the factory and
they can pee in bottles if they want. Get over it.
Yeah, they can pee in bottles. We get into that one a little later with
Yep.
Academy.
Oh yeah.
Out here making the same thoughts out here sometimes in Hollywood, it seems like.
And they actually want to talk about that a lot when we get into Umbrella Academy too, because a lot of things that happened in that show, we talked about the exact same shit on a lot of shows we covered this year. But I what did you guys think of just like this discovery of Rebecca in this prison? And Jeff, I'm curious what you think about this specifically, because you watched
You're right.
You watched Harley Quinn. If I remember correctly, they were in the pit in Harley Quinn, like one of the seasons. But it seems like
if it was one of the later seasons, I didn't. I think I just frankly fell off in season 3 and forgot there was a season 4.
Same.
But I thought it was funny how they did the pit here. I thought it was great because it was just one of those like, this is so in keeping with the way the Harley Quinn show would address something like the pit,
Yeah.
They would take it and they would try and faithfully deal with some of it, like how the getting in and getting out is impossible. So with that ridiculous jump around and all that, hilarious. But then it turning out to be like, yeah, it's still evil, but it's real world evil. I mean, it's how they did everything in this show. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that fact that we're still evil. We're just like more modernizing our evil.
Like how the whole thing with a big part of season 1 of Harley Quinn, the evil is sexism. It was like, all right, yeah. That's true.
What about you, Bill?
Confused.
Did you like
sexism is evil?
Only if it's against men.
I've never heard this.
Okay, I'm confused. I was just confused. I'm sorry. Now I understand. I understand where we're going. Well, what was the question?
I was going to ask you, as a fan of the Dark Knight trilogy, like, how did you like just like our comedic take on the pit in this and Bane going back to his childhood home?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. It was a nice play on the what do you call it? The Dark Knight Returns. Ain't that what it is?
Oh, rises. Yeah,
he rises. He returns. He did some stuff.
And what did he do? What did he do after he rose? He returned to Gotham.
Oh, exactly. He returned. He rose and returned. You know what I'm saying, Alex? It should be just called though. Batman broke his back. That's the real title. But I don't know, man. I felt like it went away. This episode went away from what they did the last episode, which was kind of like try to tell a story. Like they were just going for the bonkers shit in this episode while we go get this plot device. Like it's like, hey, we just got this plot device last episode. Now let's do some crazy shit to go pick it up. So and then they like picked
Yeah,
up.
definitely. Like they're like, hey, today we got to get the MacGuffin.
Right.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it was like, okay, we got it. And then now it's like, oh, wait, we were talking about this one story. Like, oh yeah, we are getting Rebecca for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I forgot.
So
what
Bane
that
can
was.
clap cheeks.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot what reason it was other than Bane wants to slap them cheeks.
Right. Yeah, he seems the most motivated out of everyone here. But yeah, it is light on the story in this episode. Like we only really, like you said, like toward the end of the episode, realize, oh yeah, like there are bigger stakes here involved, like emotionally with Glider reuniting with her mom. But
why is she called Glider? She doesn't have anything like
She ice
gliding.
skates. Ice skates.
Is that what you call it?
She glides on the ice.
Glides on the
she glides on the
Because
ice.
remember, her brother's Captain Cold. So back in the day, he would freeze and then she would
right.
She couldn't fly originally, I don't think.
Yeah,
like
just
I think
that for this shit.
I think like later they gave her like the tendril powers.
So that was the New 52, which was definitely in the last 20 years. But I don't think originally she could. I know she had, like, originally it was more like she was Harley Quinnish, you know, she was acrobat and like, oh, I can fight powers, and then I have knives on my feet, so I'll kick people to death. You know,
yeah,
standard normalness.
Standard normalness, like totally normal behavior.
Talk Third said, I'm waiting for all the episodes to drop before I watch it. With short episodes, I forget what happened the week before. Well,
That's
not
fair.
gonna lie, it's pretty much what I'm doing right now, man. I'm just kind of surviving through this episode right now, talking to y'all about it because I saw it on Friday or something.
Yeah, I've watched 3 seasons of Umbrella Academy between watching.
I forgot you were
so-
just watching the last season. Good God.
I did skip a lot. Like I basically watched.
Cheated.
Well,
That's what he's saying.
We'll get to
We'll
Umbrella.
get into that. Yeah.
He's saying he's cheating.
But yeah, like it is hard to pick up on the little details. So that's fair. That sounds like a good choice. Fifth Bantha says, I do that sometimes too, but this one isn't as deep as the nerds here dive into it either.
I mean, actually,
we start talking about the prison industrial complex. I don't think that's
That meme I saw earlier about the person breaking down Stephen King. There was, so basically for the group, for the fans, this someone made a meme. It was hilarious. It's YouTuber. Here's how Stephen King wrote so much in his early career. Habit, discipline of writing every day, following his passion. That's the secret sauce to productivity. Stephen King. It was cocaine, also alcohol, but mainly cocaine. That's it. There's an entire book I don't even remember writing. Which that is a quote from him.
Yeah,
he actually low key. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't like Stephen King like that, but he is like a god on the internet when it comes to answering shit. Because like people will say shit like, I forgot what book it was, but somebody or what movie it was. Somebody said it sucked, and he said somebody said, "Hey, Stephen King, go fuck yourself," and he responded, "Hey, fuck you." Like, you're a random ass dude. You're just throwing fuck Stephen King out into the atmosphere. You don't think that it's coming back at you,
right?
Like you yelling into the Grand Canyon, and then another voice yells back, type shit.
Yeah, it's like, and Tucking Turd said in the chat, many of the world's greatest creations are the results of drug consumption. That's true. Actually, John Hughes was also famous for locking himself in a hotel room and doing a whole bunch of cocaine and then popping out 16 candles or whatever the fuck.
And then he died.
From a serious cause.
Popped out 5 movies in like a year and then died.
I watched this episode. I'm sure I did. It shows I did.
Movies.
It was barely a blink in my mind. Yeah, that's fair, Fifth Bantha. So let me refresh you on how this episode ended. Braving the workers and various death traps. Braving the workers and various death traps. The trio rescue Rebecca and bring her back safely. When she awakens later, however, Rebecca is not enthused to see Glider. Now, as we saw in the last episode,
you were supposed to sing that. Like we set you up.
That is not.
You were supposed to sing the rest.
No, that wasn't.
I'm just disappointed. I don't know what. I just really don't even know what to say.
To quote the great Stephen King, "Fuck you."
There you go. That's what we need right there.
I will say Bane's scoreboard makes me laugh. Yeah, that was really funny when he made it out the pit and he was like, Bane. I also liked how he was like hopping like Mario up the and then at the very end, like he's a struggle to get his little feet over it.
Or on the way down when he's doing it, and they just and he's like, "Really? You got just fine."
He's like, "Well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself."
I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
I really I think the way they're working Bane and both Harley Quinn and this, they make him so funny.
Yeah, I thought he would get overuse his welcome in this because I thought he was used perfectly in Harley Quinn. He's like a lot smaller of a character.
Oh yeah,
in small doses.
Yeah, you making jokes because he's large, he's massive.
It's basically just different ways for him to be like, "I'll blow it up."
Yeah, every once in a while, just like, "I'll blow up this taco set." And this, he's like the fourth lead of the series, and
he's no longer in the villainy of
LOD
or whatever he was in. Like he was in the villain. They like the villainy of calamitous intent.
Yeah.
So he's no longer in there, so he don't have to pretend no more. He can just be Bane. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can be myself. Fall in love.
Just thrusting aggressively the entire time.
I can finally find a woman.
And to your point, like one of the parallels I drew to this series and Harley Quinn is like it's very much like Venture Brothers, and like that has that tongue-in-cheek way of just like showing the fun and ridiculousness of villainy. Like if you were to really just like break down how villainy could exist in like in a world, just see that goes along with it. What,
villainy?
Yeah.
You know what was about to take place? Villainy. You know what they were talking about? Villainy.
That is definitely like a strictly like nobody uses villainy in their everyday life.
No.
I mean, when was the last time someone in real life was like, "That's a villain"? It's like, no, he's a bad guy. He's a piece of shit. He's a warmonger. They don't call him a villain, though.
You know what?
You have to be passionate about it to call him.
Only rappers get called villains, or wrestlers.
Yeah, even then they call them heels.
I was gonna say, aren't they called heels?
They call them heels in the business.
Oh yeah.
If you know, you call them a heel. If
right.
you're just a fucking fair weather fan, you
or even if you're just like, you know, like if there's during the broadcast, they're not gonna say he's a heel.
Yeah,
true.
And he's a baby face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what they gonna say is like he's a villain.
He's
a monster villain.
He's a goddamn villain. I was like, damn, Jack, calm down. We're alive.
God damn it.
But
he used to say God damn it sometimes, and it would just change. Like it make you feel like it was more
like
of
very
a heavy weight to it. It's
well,
like, oh God, JR, why would he say that?
But
it was always so much funnier because they would blur the word God, but not damn it.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Right?
Like censors are so weird
because God don't belong here.
Speaking of villains, we like let's talk about this ending here because Rebecca does seem like kind of a bad guy because as we remember in the last episode, she chose to abandon her children. It's not like she was kidnapped and brought into this prison. Like we don't know when she ended up here. But
she seems like she's got a good head on her shoulders, makes wise decisions.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good decision.
Yeah, you breaking her out of a place that's very fucked up. Yeah, you making a good point there, Alex. Like, what?
Like, they don't even send the Joker to the pit. He just goes to Arkham Asylum.
He's got a problem, mental problem.
Millie villainy. I like it.
Yeah, I like what Ophelia said. He said, "I'm about to start."
Yeah, I wasn't going to use that quote.
They on some straight villainy. Yeah, like Kendrick Lamar was on some villainy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a villain. He's a villain now. You might like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a villain.
Yeah.
You know who's a villain now?
Mr.
Beast.
Mr. Beast more and more keeps coming out.
Look, I wonder where people could hear about that in a concise form.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure you can hear about it on the Bantha Bus show every Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's all true. But to get back to what we're talking about, what did you guys think of the ending of this episode, Rebecca?
I'm
Is she a bad
scared.
person?
Well, like I already kind of basically said how I felt about it. Yeah,
Mm.
she's a terrible person. First of all, you're wild for asking that question. She left her child or children. She had 2 kids.
Yeah, sure.
She saw her husband dead and just was like, I'm out.
Why not? You know. My thing is, I'm wondering if it's like she's got powers like Glider where she can't control them, and she was worried like when everyone died, she was like maybe she had something to do with it. So I'm wondering if like in her mind it was I have to leave because I'm a danger to my kids. That feels like something they would do, you know.
Okay, so you think there's going to be more human, like understandable reasoning behind her leave?
I think they're going to let us think she's just a cold hard bitch. And then it's going to be like, oh, surprise, twist.
Yeah, maybe. But that would be goofy if they did that, I feel like. But I mean, not to say that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think that this lady has just always been a fucked up individual. I mean, they raised villains, and Kite Man's dad is a villain.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like that's kind of what they're doing with this show is like calamitous intent.
Yeah.
Like type shit. You know what I mean? Like, ignore me. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like.
And it does feel like they're diving into these characters like childhoods, obviously, and like their traumas and seeing how they became the people that they are. Maybe they do have those their parents do survive, maybe they're heroes instead. They still have the same powers, but they become heroes. But also Batman had a very similar tragic situation happen to him, and he became like the most popular superhero of all time.
Awesome people first.
That's true. They were not alcoholic assholes.
Right. Why did they have kids at a bar, son?
Yeah.
There's several storylines and universes where Captain Cold's a good guy.
Oh, really?
There's even in the main continuity DC universe, there was a time where, at least for a little bit, he was a good guy.
A good guy in that jacket.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man, let me tell you
really
something.
warm and schvitty, but other than that,
You're a hater, dog. You would wear that jacket. If I bought you that jacket right now,
I wear those glasses. His Captain Cold's glasses.
If I gave you both of them,
you'll wear the bebops,
bitch, every day. Quit playing.
If in a colder climate, maybe, but in LA,
you're gonna die of heat exhaustion.
You'll wear that shit on October the 31st and keep wearing that bitch all the way until February the 20th.
But guys, let us know in the comments what you thought of this episode of Kite Man. Do you guys have any final thoughts about this episode? Or
Can't wait for next episode, man. Yeah. When is this on?
Thursdays.
Okay.
Like you said at the beginning of it, Alex, I feel like each episode is getting better, so I am excited to see where we keep going.
Yeah, same. Like it's
the first episode sucked, so yeah.
But
I didn't know. Also, I don't know nothing about Kite Man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't watch Harley Quinn, so we getting in there like swimwear. Othelia said Millie Vanilli
villainy
is Millie Villainy, the name of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, yeah, we're getting jackets, babe. Get your patches.
No, go ahead and write that down. We need a Millie Villainy t-shirt.
Millie Villainy t-shirt. All right, I'll text. No.
Oh man,
get it in.
Shit, we can get Kirstyn to just make that. Kirstyn, can you hear me?
It's like throw out the bat signal,
dude. And you could have them dressed up as like Kite Man and Glider.
See, that'd
be great.
This is what we need to be doing, man. This is what we need to be focused on. Y'all just out here worried about seeing terrible movies like Borderlands.
Yeah, what a great segue. We're talking about Borderlands, the new video game adaptation film of the, it's adapted from the video game series of the same name. This was an interesting film. This movie's kind of been in a production for about 11 years.
Makes sense because that was when the game was popular.
Oh yeah. Like I'm sure that like as soon as that first game came out, they were like, we gotta make something out of this because it is very cinematic from what I've seen from other people playing the game.
I hated it.
Let's talk a little bit about the reception of the film before we get into. Jeff is like, I am going to sit back because I totally skipped out on this.
Jeff is like, I got to get some work in for next week.
This is the Avatar meets Game of Thrones book. I love it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit. That sounds like, is that
sounds? You know what that sounds like, Alex?
It's awesome.
It sounds wet.
That sounds like a wet.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, not Avatar: The Big Blue Planet.
Oh.
Okay, that sounds much.
Yeah, and there's no jokes for that one that I have.
Yeah, I'm just impressed, honestly. But this film cost 110 to 120 million dollars to produce. They spent $30 million on print and advertising. International pre-sales reported.
Oh, say that again.
110 to 120 million dollars to produce and $30 million on print and advertising.
So $200 million movie.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a $200 million movie. And surprisingly, sales from Borderlands 3 on Steam rose after the film's release, and the concurrent player amount doubled from around 6,000 to 12,000. But that did not translate into ticket sales, as the film barely eked over $8 million in its opening weekend. Just to compare,
why would you? Go ahead.
Just to compare, the very same weekend, a very small movie called It Ends With Us, starring Blake Lively. I'm sure none of you guys have even heard of it.
I'm sure you shouldn't go see
I've heard of it.
But it came out the same weekend and made $50 million on a $25 million budget. So it's already made its budget back. And it made way more, just comparatively, it just made way more than Borderlands did. But before we get into the
comparatively, it made way more money.
Yeah, it's like
in all of it,
in every category. Money. Yeah, just everywhere.
How about this? How much did you say that they made Borderlands?
Eight. It made $8.8 million at the box.
God damn! Now look, this is what I want y'all to do. I want everybody to apologize to Boy Kills World. That's what I want to happen right now. You too. I want everybody out there.
I'm not apologizing.
Apologize because this heap of dog shit could have gave Boy Kills World another $30 million budget, and it would actually it would be a higher rated movie than this.
Yeah, this is like
and
the third party game.
Well, I think
they give them $30 million in advertising.
I think
would have been one of the number one movies, or the weekend when it came out, it could have been the number one movie that came out that weekend.
I'll tell you what, I think it's really important to point out the book is called Furies of Calderon, and it's by Jim Butcher.
I'm sure Fifth Banthas thanks you.
Morgan.
Also, I wanted to see Boy Kills World real bad, and I just didn't know when it was coming out.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So if $30 extra million got put into advertising, that would have been the number one movie in America.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, like I mentioned in my Fall Guy video, that movie had so much crazy marketing, and it for some reason it still wasn't enough to make people go see the movie. So like, who knows?
Because it doesn't have a Skarsgård in it, and also people, you will get fatigue of Pretty Boy. There's Pretty Boy fatigue, and you can't use a Ryan Gosling like all the time. Nigga got movies back to back years. That's probably one of the first times that's happened since he was in his 20s. It's like, no, dude. You gotta give us a little break on this little pretty boy nigga, or if he's gonna be playing, if he's gonna be the pretty boy, it's got to be something hard and rough like he did,
right?
But
that's how they should have done it.
Exactly, but also what did he do before that? Like it was something that he did before that was like probably 4 or 5 years before that, like you know what I'm saying? So you got Hollywood, you got to let him breathe. You got to pay Ryan more so that he can stay gone longer, right?
I mean, yeah, like I don't know, the Ryan Gosling phenomenon is like a whole other.
It's like Darth Vader. You can't use him the whole movie.
Yeah, you guys use it sparingly. Yeah. You gotta be gentle with your Gosling. You got to be gentle with your baby goose. But yeah, like what were your initial thoughts on this movie?
Fathers, be good to you.
What were your initial thoughts on this movie? Like, did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Like, before we get into the characters and the story and everything, do you think it's justified that it didn't make a lot of money?
No, well, first of all, let's just point out what Othelia said here. This is the first problem with this movie and why no one's going to go see it. This is the most what the fuck cast ever. This nigga Kevin ain't even half Roland's height.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was gonna get into it a little bit later, but like the casting is kind of atrocious. I don't know anything about these characters. I never played the games, but I can already tell that these actors are miscast. Like, I like Kevin Hart, I like Cate Blanchett, I like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Cate Blanchett better fucking like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Tell you right now, Cate Blanchett was never miscast.
Well, I would say that she's
been miscast and nothing that she ever did.
I love Cate Blanchett. She's maybe like in my top three favorite actors of all time. But like, I don't think that she lended anything special to this movie.
Yeah, if she hadn't been in this movie, Alex, this movie would have been way worse. I'm just telling you right now. You feel like she didn't add anything, but I definitely feel like she definitely added something to this. Not that her character was good, like it was written terribly, like didn't help. That ain't gonna change how it's written for sure.
Yeah, okay, so actually let's talk about a little bit about the story in this one, because the description on IMDb says, based on this best-selling video game, this all-star action adventure follows a ragtag team of misfits on a mission to save a missing girl who holds the key to unimaginable power. Now, like, there's a whole bunch of MacGuffin-y action going on. By the way, spoilers, like this, we're gonna spoil the hell out of this dog shit movie, and hopefully it'll deter you from going.
Spoiler, it sucked.
It stinks.
Yeah, like with there's a whole bunch of misdirection. Like, we think that the young actress who, like, the young character who was Gamora in Infinity War, like the young baby Gamora in Infinity War, we think that she is the all-powerful Neo character, but it turns out that Cate Blanchett is the all-powerful Neo character. She turns into like the Phoenix at the end. I bumped up against her character because it's like everyone she interacted with was acting like she was like 28 years old. Like, I laughed out loud in the theater
because she should be age appropriately for the video game. Yes, that's what it should be. But to be honest with you, they couldn't probably find a bitch that looked good enough and act good enough to be her. Like, that's probably look good enough and act good enough.
All right. Well, I mean,
because that's not a thing that just grows on trees in Hollywood. You got plenty of fine bitches all over the world, but they also have to be able to act. I'm just saying, and then there's a look you're going for a certain, you're going for a body type, you're going for a look. I'm just saying there might not have been nobody that they got that they could go get or that auditioned for this that worked other than her. Now, if that was the only, miscast or, whatever, however you want to call it, if that were the only situation that was off, that it wouldn't matter. But you got this little nigga, Kevin Hart, man. Come on, man. This nigga about as big, like his leg is the guns that he's shooting are bigger than his leg.
Right. And you
like,
know what?
It's a sad thing to see. Like, the bullets are the size of his feet. Man. Like, that's not.
Let's be honest. There's a reason in Jumanji, the whole like giant backpack for the small man and his weakness being cake. It worked because it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think they understood that in this movie.
Well, that's the thing, though. They immediately point out that he's the smallest person in the entire, like,
I guess that's good. At
fleet.
least.
Like, it's like, oh, you little ass nigga, you supposed to be the one who rescued me? Like, my dad sent you to take me somewhere.
Yeah.
You the littlest person in the world. That's funny. You say such a thing. So It was wait, what is this? What is going on here in these comments?
Like going on in the comments.
But you go ahead and say well, you know what? Just read this shit.
Okay, let some new actors get it. None of them fit these characters, to be honest. Yeah, like I didn't feel like. Again, I don't know anything about these characters, but Kevin Hart was like the least charismatic I've really ever seen. He wasn't like really funny. I feel like he was trying to play the stoic character, like this character was supposed to be cast. Like Alan Richardson was supposed to be this character, and then he dropped out, and then for some reason Kevin Hart got the role. But I just don't really. I don't know why. I don't understand his choices. I don't understand the studio's choices casting him. It's just is like my least favorite Kevin Hart performance. And I usually really
I'm gonna tell you the choices. Millions of dollars. Othelia said the studio that made this is laundering money. And I'm not mad at that theory. You know what I'm saying? Actually, hold on. I'm not mad at that because I think that there's a lot of companies out there that's laundering money.
Yeah.
Because there ain't no reason some of them should still exist. Paramount hadn't put out a good movie that's not made by Tom Cruise in 20 years. Like shit.
I read a story about a showrunner at Netflix who just like he got paid like $20 million to make a TV show and he just didn't, and they just took the money.
He took it was $22 million. He just left.
Yeah, that's awesome. That makes me very happy.
He said, "Hey, go make a movie." They gave him, which is something that I don't even remember. Like as far as I know, that's not what they do. They don't give you money. You
that's
like
typically how they
bring them something, and then they say, what if we gave you a little bit more money and then you touch up this and we, they will process it. So you send in your product to Netflix. That's so crazy. So
if you're stupid, you do.
Somebody must have been in on that. Like whoever gave that money to him also was getting a little,
Yeah, I think there's just like there's too much good faith shit in those kinds of deals. This is like when J.J. Abrams got paid like a $50 million deal to develop all these projects at HBO. I mean, at Warner Brothers. How many J.J. Abrams movies have you seen in the past few years? Same thing with the guys who did Game of Thrones. Three Body Problem is the only thing they've come out with since.
Yeah, but
Game
they
of Thrones,
actually work on that though. They still are working. They're still going to meetings. They're still trying to produce stuff. Yeah, maybe the thing doesn't come out. They still running treatments. They still doing casting. They still interviewing people. This nigga took $22 million and went to Bali or some shit. I mean, Bali.
Yeah,
like that's he didn't do. Alex, he didn't give them anything. He didn't even go find a director, man.
Sounds like they should have written a better contract before they gave him the money.
Exactly, or just don't give people
dumb shits.
That's just I'm sorry, but that's just hilarious. That's amazing. That's an amazing story.
Yeah, it's a pretty great story. You guys should
shout out to him. Did they catch him?
I mean, there's nothing to catch. I guess Netflix was just like, "Come on, man," and then that was just
you can sue. You definitely can sue somebody for that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It all depends on the contract. If that was for like a holding deal, he's fine.
I think he like dipped out on everybody though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Another episode of the Bantha Bunch show Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific time.
But yeah, like this movie was not good. But I would say like that.
I want to speak to this because you were speaking to this earlier. All Nerd Yard said all of them are like 20 years too old to be in this movie, and I wouldn't say that because this girl would be not alive if she was 20 years old. But
I say Jamie Lee Curtis,
and also the little psycho dude, he wouldn't be in there. But Jamie Lee Curtis's character is supposed to be playing a girl who's older than Cate Blanchett's character, but I think Cate Blanchett might be older than Jamie Lee Curtis.
I looked it up. They're 10 years apart. Cate Blanchett is 55. Jamie Lee Curtis is 65.
Okay,
and that's what but it's still like, but still, yeah, like one of the funniest moments in the movie is when they have a flashback where Cate Blanchett's character is being like rescued or whatever by Jamie Lee Curtis, like when Cate Blanchett's a kid. Cate Blanchett's like a little teenager, she's like 16, 17 years old, and they just have Jamie Lee Curtis in a black wig. It's like she should be like 28 years old or something. Like she should look a lot.
That's still better than what Saw did. Do you remember what Saw did?
Yeah, with the new
They
song.
just gave no. When they needed to make Jigsaw, the guy who plays him, look younger, they just gave him a backwards hat and a soul patch, and that was it. They didn't try and get rid of any of the wrinkles. They didn't try and have him like lighten his voice. No, it was just a douche tag and a cap.
Yo, they're gonna,
What's up, my fellow youths?
They're gonna next one. They're just gonna make him wear a do rag. Make him wear a do rag. Yeah, smoking a black mile.
And they've
like, he's young.
They've had to start doing the same thing with like his female counterpart too, because she's playing like a 20-year-old in the new movie. She's clearly in her 50s. But yeah, like this movie was like weird as far as age goes with Cate Blanchett, because even Gina Gershon's character is talking to Cate Blanchett like, it's like, oh, you grew up so fast. It's like you're
hold on,
age.
bitch. You gotta be the same age. Like, I know now. First of all, you might be younger than this bitch. Like, what is going on? Like, none age, all that stuff, not considered in any way, shape, or form. That is not what anybody was thinking about. I'm willing to bet you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No one who made this movie ever played the video game.
Ooh, yeah, actually, I would be willing to bet that too. And they just had a lot of consult. I will say one thing before we
Kevin Hart does.
Oh, really?
Do you know how ridiculous he does it?
No.
He's an Xbox fan. He goes to, whenever he gets to a new town, he has one of his guys buy an Xbox. He takes his Xbox hard drive and swaps it into that one. They play the game, and then when they're ready to go, they swap it. So he's got his hard drive. He puts the new one back in, and then just leaves it in the hotel room for the maids to have.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
Did
paying
he leave
it
the controller though?
Well, no, that would just be stupid.
That's silly. Damn, there was something I was gonna mention about.
What would you go mention?
No one's played any video games that's made this movie.
No, that was his thing.
I thought you were building off it though.
No, I was gonna
he
say
was gonna
something
say
before
it right as I was about to say it, but I hit the button on his ass.
It don't matter. None of this matters.
There you go.
Nathia said in the chat, "Damn, 9 called them Joe Biden." Called who Joe Biden?
The women in the chat. I mean, in the movie, because
they're too old.
Like 20 years too old to be in this movie.
Right.
And then so then Ophelia said, "Damn, 9 called him Joe Biden." Talking to her said there is a trending pattern of studios throwing big budgets at movies and series that fail to deliver a return at the box office. That is true, and you can watch a breakdown on that on the Drunk Banthas channel. It's called "Why Are Movies Bombing" or something. I don't know. What's it called?
Why the Fall Guy Bombed.
Why the Fall Guy Bombed.
I loved that movie.
Why the Fall Guy Bombed.
It's a good movie.
And
Shit.
If you're not aware,
Not in our yard out here passing out blessings. Like
Not Nerd Yards just gifted 1 Drunk Banthas channel membership.
Yes, that's right. If you weren't here earlier in the podcast, we do have a exclusive membership for exclusive content. It's as little as $1 a month. You can get exclusive videos, and also you get other drunk reviews and drunk analysis videos.
Yes,
early
with an estimated $8,000 value. We are going to only charge you $1 a month. That's an estimated $8,000 value. Now we put a lot of work in that for you, and we make sure things, YouTube helps us out a little bit, but we make sure that these costs can stay down for you,
right?
And because that's how we do it over here at the Bantha Bunch. I mean, at the Drunk Banthas and the NerdsAtNite. So just so y'all know, you know what I'm saying. Value of $20,000, and all you're paying is $1. It's a value of $25,000, Alex.
Yeah, it's a steal. You'd be crazy not to take advantage.
$80,000.
The savings are out of control.
$80,000 value. You only pay $1.
But yeah, let's talk about the characters in this movie a little bit, because we talked a little bit about Cate Blanchett. We got Kevin Hart. Jamie Lee Curtis, and also like apparently the actor who played Ivan Drago's son in the Rocky and the Creed movies. He played the Psycho? Is that the guy with his
ding
face?
Ding.
I'm not sure if you guys saw the movie or anybody who did see the movie. That character, they were just like, it just felt like they were just like pressing a soundboard of like things that character says in the video game. Again,
which
the big hulked out guy with the mask,
the Psycho.
Yeah, the Psycho. It seems like he was just saying like there was just a soundboard that somebody had where they're just pressing. It's like, oh, this seems like it might relate to this scene.
He's just saying things that's in the game.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, this is what those guys say in this game.
Yeah, like none of his sentences made any sense. It just seemed very derivative.
Man,
and again, I didn't even play the game. I could still tell.
All we got to do is be keeping it 100%. Is that like, don't make video game movies if you don't know nothing about the game. And also, some video games don't need to be made into a movie, because as a movie, it really fucking sucks. So
sometimes
you just don't need to ever do that. And like, sometimes, Alex, in Hollywood, a lot of times they try to fit a square peg into a round hole, right? There's plenty of video games out there that you could make into a movie, but I feel like Borderlands is something that they forced. You said they took them 9 years, 12 years to make.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
He was Krieg.
That was one thing that I was gonna say. That Kate Blanchett, apparently, when she accepted this role, which
she was 20 years younger,
which was in 2020. She was like under the impression maybe that was just the development stage at the time, but she was thinking this is going to be an animated movie. And then they told her it was going to be live action. And she was like, okay, cool.
Maybe it was told her it was going to be animated at first.
Right. Yeah. This movie went through development hell.
That's just what I'm saying. Don't make live action. Don't make video games into live action movies unless you feel like it can be like it's an actual tangibly transferable from one medium to the other. Like there's an actual story to tell. Because when you got these other ones that you can't tell no story with, like, it's just like a bunch of bullshit happening. I never played the game like that deep either. I played it a little bit. Right. And but yeah, like me having played as much as I played, don't ask me to make the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Don't ask me to make the movie. Make somebody who has been involved in the movie on set at all times. Because if not, you're gonna waste $200 million.
But before we get out of here, before we move on to the next topic,
we're leaving. God, bye. It was good talking to y'all.
This is the end of the podcast. Before we move on to our next topic, do you have an MVP of this movie? I personally struggled to find anything about this movie that impressed me. But do you have any actors in this movie that wowed you? Any characters that you connected with? Or simply someone who's just better amongst all the shit?
Yeah.
best smelling turd.
Man, I'm gonna go in a different direction. I'm gonna give out the GOAT, and then, the one that is the scapegoat, the worst person in the movie, because that's easier.
Okay.
I mean, trying to find an MVP in this bullshit, but like giving somebody that had the worst performance, I don't want to do this either. But it's Jamie Lee Curtis, man. That shit was whack. I was like, what is she doing
there?
Like, her character was just there. She didn't contribute nothing. Like, that's the one character didn't contribute shit.
I was like, oh, you're in this movie? Oh, and you're not. There's no reason for you to be here,
and you're gonna still be in this movie.
All right, that's fine.
She just explained shit that we didn't know the whole time.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't actually make it make any more sense than it did,
I would say that the little girl is probably my least favorite character. If I were talking about
I was gonna give
characters,
it to her too, she young, so I left her alone. She a baby.
I feel like I've seen her in some shit that I like. Well, she wasn't good at Infinity War for that 5 seconds.
Yeah,
But
Infinity War. She was in Infinity War.
she played Baby Gamora in Infinity War.
She was the bitch.
She was a little baby.
She don't know nothing about balance, stupid ass bitch. But I would say my MVP is probably Claptrap, played by Jack Black, the little robot. Just because now, to be fair, like I want to be clear, I did not like this character. I thought he was annoying, and they used him way too much.
The robot,
but
he was cool.
But yeah, like there were a lot. Like the only moments that made me genuinely laugh, was him. Like I like the scanning, and then Kate Blanchett was like, "Can you do that without singing?" He's like, "Yes." Scanning. He just kept going.
He had moments, man. He was really out here. If I had to give somebody MVP, it'd probably be him too. I just was hating on a lot of it. But you know what? Kate Blanchett, she really did her thing too. Because really, she was just supposed to be, I'm a badass, I'm fine as hell. Like, girls want to be me, guys want to fuck me, guys want to be me, and girls want to fuck me. You know, that's just who she was. Because that's all you needed to be. I'm a badass. I'm doing my thing. But they were introducing the other characters like they were gonna have a bigger role. You know, like okay, she's not the main character, and so I never felt like she was the main character, and I felt like she was supposed to be the main character.
Right.
But it was never like, oh, she is the main character. It was like, oh, we're dealing with all these other people. So it was just, I don't know, waste of time. Mostly.
And we've seen movies like Firefly where like it really excels at, like there's a very much an ensemble cast. Like there's 7 different characters in that show, or 6 different or 5 different characters in that movie. But Mal is clearly the main character. Like there's
what a great movie.
Oh man, Producer Terry said, "Internet is too bad, can't join."
Oh damn! Wow. I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
Well, hopefully it'll get a little better. We're going to be talking about our next topic for a while, I'm sure. This movie is very disappointing. I'm glad that I didn't I didn't play the video games, because then I would have had an emotional investment in this movie. But as it is, it was just like another fucking bad action film. But at least I got to see it with my brother and my sister. I guess your sister-in-law. Producer Terry says I'll be in the chat.
Yeah,
keeping it live in the chat, and thanks to everybody actually who's been in the chat. This chat's been very active,
bumping.
But guys, if you've seen Borderlands, let us know what you think in the comments. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Probably not those first two. But who knows? Stranger things have happened. But we're going to move on to our final topic of the night. We're talking about Umbrella Academy Season 4. Do you still want to leave this voicemail here?
I didn't. No, that's from when I talked about it on Thursday.
Yeah, no, I figured, but I was just like,
well, you didn't. You just take it off. I didn't leave. I didn't put it up there for that.
I know.
You asking if I want to keep the number on.
Anyway, but yeah, we're talking about Umbrella Academy season finale. The final season of Umbrella Academy. Now, Bill, I'll let you.
Hold on a second.
Holy shit! Did you see what Terry said?
Yeah,
it's got a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience score is 51%. That's a huge difference.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like it could be on an episode of Does It Hold?
Could be a future Does It Hold Up episode.
Oh yeah,
I have a feeling I will be hanging out with friends, drinking all day on that one, and might accidentally sleep through it.
Oh man, it's actually a good movie to get drunk and fall asleep to. I can guarantee that.
Oh man, we already got some haters in the chat. Bantha said Umbrella Academy boo is lit.
Why you calling me? I'm right.
A couple moments there was no reason for any of this.
And now I want to point out that Fifth Bantha is a fan of Umbrella Academy.
Yeah,
he really fucks with Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, I was gonna let you you cook for a little bit first, because
I'm very cook while we're on camera.
What?
I can't cook while we're on camera.
I can do it.
Got a hot plate right here. Yeah, I'm curious of what you thought of, like, first of all, like, you want to talk about like your just like relation to Umbrella Academy, because I'm very much new to this. I just pretty much started watching it this weekend for this season. But you're a fan of the show. You got a kind of a love-hate relationship with it. You want to talk about your love of the show and also this season?
If you've watched the Bantha Bunch show, you've already heard me speak on this a little bit, so I won't talk too much about it. But yeah, my journey with the Umbrella Academy has been one with a lot of obstacles for myself, a mixed bag, if you will. I got some peaches in a basket, and some of them are rotten, and some of them are just right, and some of them ain't right yet. You know what I'm saying?
Not quite ripe yet.
So that's how it always felt, and I call it a guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah,
you know, much like The Magicians, a television show that is on Netflix as well.
Yeah, Arrow is mine.
It was not on Netflix first, but yeah.
Eureka.
Yeah, Eureka. Another.
That was a good one.
That was my aunt's guilty pleasure.
Man,
Your aunt has good taste.
I could keep naming a whole bunch of them. Stargate. All the Stargates.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jason Momoa.
There's nothing guilty about Stargate Universe, though.
No,
that show was excellent.
Yeah, they lost so much capital, and then they put out a really good one, and everybody's like, "Who gives a fuck about that?" Y'all, that's a terrible.
Right,
show.
people are already checked out by that.
But yeah, you know, people, you got your guilty pleasures. Put it in the comment. What is your guilty pleasure show that you be watching that you don't tell nobody that you watch, but you be watching it faithfully? You, a lot of people, when they ask you if you're gonna come out, and you're like, "No, I gotta do something at the crib. I gotta clean up. I spilled paint on the floor today, and I gotta scrub it up." And then you actually sitting there watching The Magicians.
One that I love that everyone hated, Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, that was a guilty pleasure for me for a little while.
I know Fifth Bantha.
I enjoyed it.
It was on for like 50 years, so I had to stop at some point. But
yeah, right.
It's definitely one of those good ones for. All right, I'm gonna put this on while I fall asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good. I can see it as a good background show. The Fifth Bantha said, "All y'all are doing is making me miss old shows right now."
That's what we.
Oh, TT coming in hard with Alf.
Alf was always my favorite show. Lil Frothy said, "Lil Frothy." Well, you said that was your favorite show. I'm looking for guilty pleasures, ones that you wouldn't tell nobody that you like, or you hide that you like. Lil Frothy says, "Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica." Now, see, that's the kind of shit I'm looking for.
That's that shit.
That's that fucking terrible shit. MASH? You didn't like MASH?
I don't think MASH is a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's not a come on.
MASH still holds the record for most people watching an episode at a time for their final episode.
Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy.
That's right.
It's because most people.
That's never gonna get burned.
It's because it sucked.
That's because
nobody watched it. That's why nobody watches final episodes no more. No, I'm joking. Please don't attack me.
I've never seen MASH, so I
don't want to hear you. He said, "I didn't tell people I liked Alf." That must be a British thing.
Maybe
they didn't appreciate it over there.
Yeah, maybe not. I can see that being a very American.
It is a very American time, dude.
We like Alf.
We're talking about an alien who eats cats.
Yeah, very fucking weird time.
I got a decent amount of reality shows, but I don't give a fuck. I'll talk about them. You'll hate it. I will not shut up.
Yeah, see, which one? You don't want to name one? You just don't name
Below Deck. I love Below Deck, Vanderpump Rules, Southern Charm, Summer House.
Laverne and Shirley is amazing. Film age, you do not have to feel guilty about that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna stop, guys.
Yeah, I was about to say, we should go back to Umbrella Academy. We could do the chat on this.
Keep it going in the chat, though. Keep it going.
Yes, please do.
Guilty pleasures, man.
Yeah, I as a newcomer to this show, I did cheat. I watched the first season, and then I just watched a recap video of the seasons 2 and 3, and then watched the 4th season.
And I explained through those recaps the gaps that they had. So.
Yeah,
honestly, you probably should have rewatched a recap of season 1, actually watch season 2, recap half of season 3.
I would say watch
that's your
season 1 or recap season 1 and 2, watch season 3, or at least Yeah, watch season 3 into 4.
Right. Yeah,
But that depends on how many episodes was 3.
That's the thing. They were all 10 until this one.
This is the only one that was 6.
Yeah.
And I would say just like comparing season 1 and season 4, I did appreciate the shorter episode count because I do feel like it helped with the pacing because like they can. There's a lot of shoe leather in a lot of the episodes for Umbrella Academy. There's a lot of seemingly superfluous conversations that seem nowhere and kind of taking the weight out of the stakes of the situation. But at the same time, like I really, really like the idea of just like this demented X-Men story. Like what if we really dove into how fucked up it is for an old white dude to just like take in a bunch of kids and make them fight crime and let them
I think it's just describing there's a very simple, true way to describe it that will be like, oh, that makes sense. What if the lead singer of My Chemical Romance wrote the X-Men? Gerard Way is the author.
Right. Yeah. Like that's one of the things that made me not care. Because I remember this comic book when I was like younger. I was like, why am I going to read a comic book from a fucking rock star? He's got money. He's like, I'm not trying to contribute to whatever the fuck else he's trying to do. That was my hater rate.
Yeah.
Not a big Cohen and Cambria fan?
No. Well, I mean, I like Coed and Cambria, but I was just like, fuck you. You're already leave some talent for the rest of us. I'm not watching your comic book too.
Yeah. I think I was pretty much just like, yeah, it can't be great.
Right.
This can't be great. I mean, I could miss out on this.
Yeah.
But 30 years later, 20 years later, here we are. There's a TV show that's now canceled after 4 seasons.
So I'll say this. First things first, Othelius, 100% agree. 98 Godzilla, fucking perfect.
Exactly.
Now, that being said,
find out on
right. Now, that being said, I agree with you to an extent about the shorter season because one of the big problems the previous seasons had, I probably started season 1 3 times before I actually watched it. It's because in the previous seasons, they start way too slow. It's a very slow burn to get you going. And especially if it's a show that it's brand new, you got to get your audience like that, man. So that was actually one of the things I liked about this season. I feel like I thought it was going to be a lot longer before I'm really back into it. And instead they were like, no, we're going to give you like, hey, everyone's depressed. And I'm like, I get that. And then they're like, and now you got superpowers again. And I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's watch this. I thought they did a very good job of that. The problem was, though, then important things that happened at the end of the season, they had to speed through because they didn't have enough episodes. There should have been at least 8 episodes.
Yeah, I think that the reason that felt sped through really is because I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I kind of was feeling that too. And then I was thinking, I was like, they just gave me the illusion that they were pacing it better, like because they had so much that they needed to get to. But then so that's the first episode, basically, first 2 episodes. Yep. Or episode and a half, first episode and a half.
So at the end of the first episode, Dead Ben super roofies them.
Right.
So
that's what I'm saying. So like we get about an episode and a half of just good pace going through it. And then after that, it's just really slow, too slow.
I feel like when they were in the town getting Jennifer, that was still good. I think that was the end of the second episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. The end of the second. That's what I was saying. Like an episode and a half, the pacing was good. Then we get Jennifer, and then everything just kind of slows back down.
And some things do, but other things go too fast. I mean, the whole Ben and Jennifer, everything of it was like, what is happening? What is happening right now? Like, we've seen them for 3 scenes and they're ending the world. Explain it to me.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like the meat of it. I guess what I'm saying is the meat of it. Because what they still did is they went on this bullshit every season. For y'all who don't know, they have the first 3 episodes are pretty dope, and then the rest of the episodes are just kind of like what are we doing? Everybody got to go their separate ways. We have to meet up, and then we have to argue, and then we all leave and go our separate ways, and then we all talk about these stupid things, and we're paired off together. And if you've ever seen Teen Titans, or I guess it's Titans on HBO, the Titans, the edgy Titans, man, they would do the same shit. And I'd hate that type of multi-character storytelling. But because they weighed themselves down in that so much, then you don't get the points that are moving so fast, but are actually a part of the story that we're tied to. Like, this is what we want to know. I don't care about how she feel about what happened last season, whatever. Like, what's going on right now?
But yeah, and it's a time and a place for those kinds of moments to shine through, because like one of the things there's a lot of parallels between this and X-Men, and one of the things I do like about X-Men is that it when they get into this soap opera shit, and we get to realize these are real people who are going through a lot of different traumas and trials and tribulations, but it's also like well paced. Like, they're not dealing with those big dramatic like interpersonal situations when the world is on the line. Like, they have enough sense to just focus on the mission, and then they'll get to that shit later.
Right. Yeah. Cyclops knows that Wolverine wants to smack cheeks with his wife. What does he beat the shit out of them while they're fighting Sentinels?
Right. It's like we're gonna have a talk about this later after we save the world.
Yeah, whatever, man. If we live, will fuck you up later.
Right.
Just talk. But whatever happens, we have to kill this motherfucker first. Right? Like, we can't live.
I gotta kill this motherfucker before I can kill this motherfucker. By the way, this is very important. Fifth Bantha, Talking Turd. There's actually a huge resurgence of emos right now. Look up Emo's Not Dead. That guy's got a fucking cruise with emo bands that's going to go on its 4th year, and a bunch of emo bands are touring again.
You think we can get booked?
It's awesome.
Possibly, but I don't want to do that.
You get to go spend 5 days on a cruise ship with like some of the dopest emo bands on earth.
When you say
next year,
when you say get to,
well, they'll pay us.
Next year,
get to. He meant you get paid. That's what he was trying to say.
We only know the headliner for 2025, and that we'll find out the rest tomorrow. But the headliner is the Used. So you get to hang out on a cruise ship with the Used for a week.
That's so funny. My roommate in college was obsessed with the Used, so I've listened to more Used than most people in the universe.
Not on that cruise ship.
Actually, not on that cruise ship. Probably. I'll probably be right 1-1 with everybody else up there.
Hey man, shout out to y'all. Get us on the shout out to y'all.
The Emo's Not Dead cruise.
Yeah, I think
Emo's Not Dead. That's a pretty great title for a cruise too.
So that's his entire company is Emo's Not Dead, and it started with making silly YouTube videos.
That's cool, and it also could be just like a pro. I was gonna say pro life, but that's not what that means. Just like pro mental health thing, where you're just like combating suicide because
help likely, or what is it called? What's it called? The promo, the one that's always on here.
Oh, BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
Yeah.
Yep.
The better this cruise. BetterHelp.
He did a Kickstarter to raise $50,000 to make an emo album himself, and in the first day, it raised $250,000.
Oh Jesus!
He came out with the album. It's 10 tracks. 6 of them are featuring like big, like Pierre from Simple Plan is singing on one of them.
Ophelia said in the chat, Nas got better than me. Logan would have sorry, I read ahead. Logan would have to watch his back and on the battlefield. Gene, Logan got blasted in the back. The hell? What happened? Me? I don't know. Must have been the Sentinels.
Sentinels be out here.
Yeah, they got laser eyes too. Talking Turd said pro mental health is the opposite of everything emo stand for. The mental health issues, the more emo you are. I would say it depends on like the what you're listening to. Some people fetishize what.
You can't be emo if you don't got mental health problems, man.
We're emotional. Ups and downs. So
I don't think anything wrong with you.
I took us way off topic, guys. I'm so sorry.
No,
It's
no.
okay.
That's
what we do here.
But yeah, I do want to ask you guys about
wrong
this.
sound effect.
I want to ask you guys about this scene because this is kind of what the catalyst event of this season where everybody gets their powers back.
I mean, we all saw it coming, right?
Yeah, like it was pretty obvious. Like I
did not know that they were going to get their powers back from this.
They
you didn't see that coming.
So there's a few issues I have with just like silly things in this season. One is marigolds glow. How did none of them see it in the drink?
I was expecting when they had that flashback that we would see like, he put marigold at the bottom and then he like poured sake or whatever on top of it. So you see the glowing, but it's a glowing ass
glowing
liquid.
And sake is clear.
Yeah. It's very famously has no color.
Right?
What was the next thing that you found wrong about this situation here?
That was the only thing that I like sort of bumped up against. It's beyond like the moral shit, like because it is interesting story wise that obviously Ben is the most emotionally wrought from this whole situation, from them losing their powers, and he's adjusted to real life the worst, having just come back from prison. So it makes the most sense that he would be the one to manipulate all of his family into doing this, not trust them to make.
Remember, for Ben, they're not family because Ben's a sparrow.
Well, yeah, but he did kind of find them as family at the end. But yes, he is not their family. He doesn't look at them like they look at him.
Yeah.
And he was a whole dickhead in the last season.
Right.
Like he was a complete fucking asshole. Actually, out of his whole asshole family, he was the biggest asshole. And he was number
him
one.
or the cube.
No, you don't talk that way about Christopher.
I don't know what Christopher was saying. I can't tell you if he was the bigger dick or not.
Yeah, you can't.
He was funny, and
I don't speak cubic.
He was very sexually talented, and he was hilarious.
That is true.
Bantha said in the chat. Okay, since I'm getting sleepy, the Care Bear store at the end was the goofiest of trash. So if I fall asleep, I got that out.
By the way, another thing that doesn't make sense to me that I did not like. So they get their powers back, right? Why does Luther become ape-like again? That wasn't his powers. That was after he got hurt. He had Marg's Graves had to inject some ape shit into him. That's not his powers, though.
Yeah,
exactly.
That didn't make a lot of sense. And also, just like because everybody else, like pretty much everybody else's powers change, it's weird that his become exactly the same down to the augmentations he had after,
and nothing is added.
Yeah.
So let me get into that. Is what I didn't like.
Producer T, we're glad to hear that there's no earthquakes, but that rain's supposed to be pretty heavy right now. I heard like 78 kph winds, so careful out there, homie.
We had an earthquake here, so hopefully y'all don't have a tsunami. So because we had a fucking massive earthquake, well, a big ass earthquake.
Fingers crossed.
4.7 here, right up underneath my damn bed, like literally. But anyway, yeah, no earthquakes though. That's what's up. I'm glad. Because it's like earthquake season. Talking Turd said, although I read some of the Umbrella Academy comics, I don't remember anything about them.
I could not get into the art for them. It was really bad art.
Yes, I'm not into that either. But what bothered me about this is that they all had additional powers that they
not Diego.
Not Diego and not
Luther. Yeah.
Like
that's weird.
Dude, that is like no, that's not weird. It's dumb. It's just they were writing themselves out of every fucking wall that they ran into with just give them a new power. Because they never even mentioned that, we've got new powers. It just happens. It's like, I guess I can do that.
There's literally one point, and it's when Allison just goes, well, that's new.
Right. But they all have those moments where they're like, well, the ones who get new powers, they're all like, oh,
yeah,
that before. Like,
but none of them talk with each other about it and try and like figure it the fuck out.
No, exactly. No, because I don't think it's something that was written into the show at first. I think it's something that they were literally like just writing themselves out of. Because what's her name? Ritu? What was her name?
Ritu Arya.
Oh my God.
Her character ends up getting laser
vision.
And first of all, I'm mad about that. I ain't never seen no green laser vision anyway. But
I would like to.
Her power was absorbing other people's powers, basically. Right. So why even bother changing that? Like,
and but then they never have her use it again either.
But no, they didn't change it. They just didn't let her do her actual power until the last episode.
And then, but also, we find out that she could still mimic powers.
That's what I'm saying. She didn't do it until the last episode.
Right, yeah, like she could still, she does the laser eyes, like in the last episode.
Did she? I don't even remember.
No, I'm saying she mimicked.
Oh, yeah, right.
Powers. She mimicked
she mimicked
Five's power.
Five's powers.
Yeah. She mimicked
almost
Seven's powers.
Yeah.
Almost with the exception of Victor, she almost exclusively mimics Five's powers, like no one else.
Exactly, no one else. Exactly, and then
and it was Luther for like 14 minutes. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Like I just.
So I'm already exhausted because I've been talking so much shit about it previously, but I will not let y'all down. Let me tell you something. Another thing that was dumb. The train station situation, that was dumb as fuck. What were you about to say?
Well, I was actually going to say that
you hated it. No, I'm joking.
I liked this storyline between Ritu and Five.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it should have been in another season because there's so much
100%.
There's so much to unpack here emotionally. Like it's the emotional implications here are heavy, and again, like this is a situation that we've covered before in other shows like Dark Matter, where Joel Edgerton and his I forget the actress's name, where they're traveling through the multiverse trying to get their way back home. They end up in all these alternate timelines. These characters are in the same situation.
No,
Dr. something.
Dr. Lovegood. I don't know.
Yeah. Joel Edgerton and Dr. Sexy, they're doing the same situation where they're traveling through a whole bunch of different universes and they're trying to find their way back home. And one of them decides, like, one of them is like, you know, we might not make our way back home. Why don't we just go to a universe?
I mean, go through, yeah.
Also, yes. Also, yes. But why not like find one of these universes that aren't terrible and just make a home there? And I actually really liked that story, and also just the implications of, you know, you're married with kids and everything, but
to my brother,
to my brother, who actually do love, but you know, we don't know what tomorrow is gonna. We don't know if that universe that we came from even exists anymore, and we don't know if we're ever gonna get out of this weird situation. Like Bill, you mentioned a little bit, like how did you feel about this? Like you said, it was kind of stupid, but I feel like it was just misplaced. Do you feel the same way, or you just feel?
I'll tell you why it was stupid. You have those reasons that you felt like it was misplaced. This is why it was stupid, Alex, is because it had nothing. It didn't change or add to anything. If I take that out of this show, nothing changed. This didn't matter at all.
Not necessarily. So technically, okay. So the one thing that it does change is how then Five goes and finds the other Fives and learns, hey, there can't be multiple timelines, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, technically, if they hadn't been traveling for 7 years, and if he wasn't trying to look for like more metal or whatever to make her another fancy bracelet, he wouldn't have found the notebook and he wouldn't have stumbled into all of that. Now, that being said, whatever. I agree with Alex that this was actually probably one of the best parts of the season to me, but they gave us like 40 minutes to digest it. It should have been so much longer. It should have at least played out over multiple episodes, whereas we really got one episode of them and like 10 minutes in the final episode of the consequences, you know? This could have been a very good motivator that could have made, because the other thing is, when it actually comes out, it could have been something that divides the entire fucking family, you know? But instead, they're just like, hey, let's finish this fucking episode. Let's finish this now. And they lost a lot of emotion and a lot of potential.
Yeah, and to your point, Bill, like it would have been more satisfying if the end of the story had them like resolve something with the apocalypse. Like this whole journey led them to something that helps with the ending, but it just like kind of just happens. It's just kind of like a contains. It's kind of like a Black Mirror episode or something.
Because what I was saying is like Jeff was saying, it helped him find his other selves, right? But that's basically that could have happened in the episode where he found the subway.
You're absolutely right there.
I'm just talking about this storyline didn't actually have to happen. And what they did the reason they did it, and the reason they do a lot of stuff, and you're probably gonna agree with this. I'm curious what you'll think, Jeff. But Ritu?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ritu Arya.
She is such a good actress, and they pay her so much.
She's amazing.
They pay her so much. They just have her in the show for 3 seasons for no reason. Like, and they just give her things to do that really actually don't actually have to have happened, but they do. They write themselves to just be able to keep her in the show.
You know what she is?
If you look up a photo of the season, like poster, and she's not in any of the photos. So it's like, why do we even? Why? You
know who she is? She's the Phoebe of this friends group. She's the zany, wacky character that we like to have on the side. We can get emotional with her, but usually it's for a good, fun, quick laugh.
Yeah, or a special episode.
Exactly. That's really who they basically made her into from the get-go.
Phoebe mixed with Topanga.
Oh yeah. Which all 3 of those women, if any of you just low self-esteem and need, I can.
I just want to bring up this comment from Talking Turd. He says, "Why must everything revolve around the multiverse these days?" You know, it's funny because I did a little bit of deep diving on this because there were a little bit of deep diving.
Oxymoron, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a book you pull up for a little bit of deep diving.
Good news. There's a universe where multiverses aren't all the rage. I hope that makes you feel better.
But yeah, like I read a couple of like articles where people were talking about, because film art always depicts life, whatever is most of the time, and
art bias.
Yes, art bias depicts life. Person no one listening to this podcast has ever heard of. But yeah, and I feel like in the article that I was reading, they were talking about how with the pandemic, a lot of people had more time to reflect on life and what all the different avenues they could have gone down. It's like, oh man, if I made this decision in my life would have been so much different. And it sort of sparks a lot of multiversal movies that are coming out right now. But obviously a lot of these multiversal TV shows and stuff that are coming out right now are adapted from movies and books and comic books that came out, in the 60s. So this is an idea that's been around for a long time, but for whatever reason, right now it's in the zeitgeist to imagine a different life.
Whoever wrote that article is getting paid by Disney because they've been doing this since before the pandemic. So that's a person who's getting paid so that they can say, oh, it's not Disney that's making you feel that way, because that's what it is. And because they are doing it and it was so successful, then you have copycats who are going to do the same thing. And because you're talking about just Marvel, and like to Talking Turd's point, we got Dark Matter this year. Which is a book that was written after Endgame. You know what I'm saying? Like we got all these things. We got people influenced by a phenomena of, we forget how well praised those last two Avengers movies were, and how much everybody was like, this is the revolutionized movies, and people are losing their shit, and this is the effects of that.
It's also a mechanism that's been used in comics for like, hey, we need to do something big and bring back readers. That's been a big one in comics for years. I will also say a part of it might also be coming from after they turned on the Large Hadron Collider over there in Europe. That's where a lot of this came from as well, because part of that is like, are we able to see dark matter, literal dark matter? Are we able to use it to observe like what the Big Bang basically was? Really funny thing about that, by the way, is someone had a theory that when we turned on the Large Hadron Collider, we actually created a different universe that's basically the bad timeline, and that's what we're in right now, and no one can disprove it.
Oh man, that's pretty.
And the real
pretty
Mandela effect.
And I also feel like, if you want to go back a little bit before before Avengers Infinity War, I would attribute a lot to Rick and Morty, because I feel like Rick and Morty very much simplified the multiverse to a lot of people and made it very understandable and digestible. And that first a few seasons of Rick and Morty, it was like somebody won the championship, then all the offensive coordinators and everybody ended up getting head coaching jobs. Like everybody who was a staff writer for those first few seasons of Rick and Morty ended up getting like really big jobs, including the person who ended up running being the showrunner for Loki, which is another big multiversal show. So I feel like that definitely helped with making your normal casual person who doesn't read a lot of comic books understand the multiverse on a very basic level, so you can make a whole bunch.
Which goes to exactly what I was saying. Them niggas got paid to write that fucking stupid ass article earlier, because we just went back for the last 12 to 15 years and pointed out where this has been taking place. And so, to Talking Turds' point, it is being overdone, and it isn't coming from just the natural scope of no, it's not naturally happening. These motherfuckers use the shit because they know it makes money, and it's up to us as viewers to stop going to see the ones that they do this like that. Like, don't participate in it, and they'll change it and they'll start making something else. You got all these people trying to do drug movies and stuff. I mean, drug TV shows and stuff like that when Sons of Anarchy and Breaking Bad are popping, right? But then nobody watched those, so then we got to change it up and start coming up with a different type.
We had that time when it was nothing but the gangster movies and TV shows: Sopranos, Goodfellas, Casino. Westerns were huge in back in the day when we had our spaghetti western phase. It's just the way it always goes. And now the interesting thing is, it does end up usually being cyclical. Look at fashion, look at music. Things that were popular become popular again. Really can't wait for the days when we just get regular rock and roll back. Come on.
White people, get it together.
I know. Greta Van Fleet. Keep it going. Come on. But yeah, so the thing is, that's going to be the funny part, is when the multiverse stuff starts coming back around again in the future, and someone's just sitting there like, they've already Simpsons did it,
yeah.
Well, because I don't get mad that somebody else has done it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I just it's just like obvious that you're not trying your hardest. Now, I'm not saying that means that you're not writing something good. Your multiverse movie or television show may be very entertaining to me, and
look at Loki.
Talk about it right here. Right. Exactly, talk about it right here on the show. But let's just be honest. You not being as creative as you could be if you were to try to open it up and do something different.
I do feel like there's something as far as like why like people have been making stuff like this, because there's other movies that aren't produced by Disney, like Everything Everywhere All at Once and like Dark Matter, what first of all, what made them make that movie at that time, but also what made people really connect with those movies. during that time.
Look at the Flash TV show. That was doing a lot of multiverse.
Flash,
Exactly. Yeah. Man,
Poorly,
article out
but they were doing it.
But
I'm so glad you mentioned that one, Jeff. Man, get that. I'm just saying, because just so y'all know, man, that's what happens a lot in Hollywood. That's what people do. They try to save each other's butts, man. You know, but if I don't blame them, that's your homie.
I mean, it wasn't. It wasn't a saving butts situation with the article. It was just like,
okay,
it's just like talking about the times. Anyway, let's talk about.
It was cocaine and alcohol, mostly cocaine. There you go. That's the answer.
That is what happens sometimes. Sometimes people.
Stephen King.
Everybody don't have journalistic integrity like we do here at the Drunk Man.
Well, it's also just someone gets a theory and they run with it, and hey, theories are great. They got to be proven first.
But back to Umbrella Academy. Let's talk about let's talk about the just like
we're talking about the theory that this nigga came out with. Well, anyway,
yeah. I mean, just to go back to the actual show.
Go back to another yeah. Let's go. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't feel like that was necessary. Their storyline, because I think we still get the storyline with the multiple fives.
Yeah, the Council of Fives.
What did you think about that? I was wondering, because we find out a lot in that. We find out that he created the commission, even though
very unsurprising.
Very unsurprising, but also, like you were saying, we didn't have moments where we could like unpack a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that all happened in one scene.
Right. We just found out that he created everything.
And not just one scene, it was a throwaway line. That's why we created the council. Anyway, so
yeah.
Did you want a Reuben? Like what?
I did like the idea of because we've seen this in other mediums, like we've talked about this year, the Council of Reeds, Council of Ricks, these councils of multiversal variants who decide they're going to work together for the greater good. But the Council of Fives have gotten together so they could eat brisket and drink coffee and just like not interact with like this mess that's happened outside.
Which makes me even happier about the ones that were just like, I'm not even going to eat it. I'm just going to be the one cooking it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. And then there's
I love Brisket 5.
There was ones that were just sitting around, not eating anything, not doing anything, not talking to each other.
Reading a newspaper. What's on that newspaper?
By the way, one thing I liked about this season, I liked that they didn't explain it, but it makes sense why Five finally aged, because he didn't have his powers anymore. And that was like a big worry because, the entire point was he doesn't age, but you put so much time between the seasons. I thought that was actually a fun little throwaway thing there.
Okay, I didn't even twig that because I just assumed that he would still be aging, but he just like his age regressed when he.
It's something they mention in passing, and I don't remember which season, but they mentioned that it's not even because of his power that he's not aging. It's because he fucked with the timelines using his power that he's not aging. So then
that was season 3. I think.
Yeah. So then a part of that becomes like, okay, well, not only do they not have powers, but Hargreaves erased that past where that happened. So.
And before we talk about the ending of this season, I'm curious what everybody's MVP of this season and also just the series. 2 different.
Can't pick Reach
MVPs.
You gotta pick somebody else.
You can't pick who?
Why not?
Because that's what everybody's gonna say.
Right, who?
You gotta pick somebody.
Ritu Arya.
Oh yes. So mine are going to be different. I've got an MVP for this season, and then I've got an MVP for the Umbrella Academy kids.
Yeah, I figured there would be different MVPs for both, so I wanted to pose that question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
This season, Nick Offerman.
Ooh, yeah.
I thought he was great, especially when at the end we get him, the other Martians playing him.
Yeah.
I like that. And that was the other thing that I loved about this season. I love Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally. And when they work together, it's always fun for me.
Power couple.
And I thought they did great this season. I thought they played their characters perfectly.
They were great.
Yeah, they understood the assignment.
There's very little acting that I don't like about this show.
Yeah, actually, the acting is
Hate it.
spectacular.
I hate it. I hate to say this because I hate saying this about our people, but the black girl is the worst.
Allison.
actor.
She's a weak link.
On
Allison's
show.
a weak link.
God.
Unfortunately.
Damn, man. That
She's got-
shit makes me upset because that shit happens all the time. I swear to God, every time I watch a show and it's a majority black, majority white cast, they got that. Yes, Titans. I wasn't gonna say it because I don't want to be beating up black women up here today. But guess what? Y'all bitches catching these hands today. God damn it. Because it's not their fault. It can't be their fault. I don't know what it is. They just write them terribly, and then they just have to act like stupid women who are constantly worried about shit that I've never seen one black woman concern themselves over.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think it was her acting, Allison specifically? Do you think it was her acting, or do you think it was how she was written? Because all of season 3, the only thing that matters is getting back to her kid. And then season 4, she just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, no, it's the writing.
Parents, am I right?
It's the writing. I mean, like the dude who plays what's his name? Not Luke.
Luther?
Diego?
Luther. The guy who plays Luther.
Mm-hmm. They made him an idiot this season.
And he's a good actor, but I kind of feel like they always make him. He's always just been like an idiot. Because he's socially awkward because he spent his whole life on the moon.
Yeah,
basically.
I wish they leaned into that sooner on the show.
Right.
I really liked his character this season.
Yeah, but like anyway, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Can't get a chance to act, right? Because there's no consistency to anything.
He was great in Black Flags.
Oh, he's in that? I didn't watch
Didn't see
that.
that.
He was the second mate in Black Flags. That was the old pirate show on Stars. That was a prequel to Treasure Island.
Yeah, I remember the show, but I never
I'm
watched
gonna
it.
go. Did you give your MVP for the series?
So I don't even know if it's for the series. It's just of the actual Umbrella Academy. It goes back and forth between 5 and Klaus, but I feel like it's more often Klaus.
Yeah.
I love that actor. I think he showed a lot of range in this show. I don't feel like they utilized him enough this season, but I think overall Klaus was really great. I will say this, and just an honorable mention, it was really fun seeing Elliot Page get to, this is the first time I've seen him act since the last season, and it felt nice watching him act in a scene where it looked like he felt comfortable, you know?
Yeah, like
It felt
Elliot,
nice where they just weren't constantly trying to talk about their change, their transition, because as important
And the way they dealt with it in season 3 was perfect.
in my opinion, it wasn't, because it was just too much on it. It's just like all the other things that they do in this show where they talk about things that do not matter. The world is fucking ending. Nobody gives a shit about any of that shit right now. Like, why are we constantly concerning ourselves? This is why they had to die. Okay, this is why they could no longer exist. They are the most self-centered pieces of shit to ever be created on the planet. It's always about themselves, and that's why Victor always ends up blowing up, ending the world. No matter what the fuck they try to do, this motherfucker ends the world. That's why I said, you know what, Alex?
Hey, consistency.
We were watching this shit, and I was watching this for the second time. Alex was watching it for the first time. I was like, you see, Alex, everything could have been just fine if they just shot Victor in the face,
Right?
and shot Ben in the face, and shot this other girl in the face, and then we're good to go, man. Because that's what we find out that Hargraves did. Because I didn't realize it until one thing they did good. Let's talk about something they did good. One thing they did good.
Well, you guys still got to get your MVPs.
I haven't yet, but I'm gonna give it to it right here. I didn't feel like I didn't realize that Ben got shot in the face, or I didn't realize that we didn't know how Ben died until right then. And I was like, I felt like my brain was. I was like, damn, has Reginald been up in here?
That was a good fucking scene.
That was a great scene,
really
and
great.
then we could have had more of that if we got rid of a lot of the stuff that we shouldn't do.
I mean, if they just murdered more children. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Child murder.
I think
if
that-
Halo
look,
has told us anything,
not gonna lie, when
that
Ben-
will keep us invested throughout a whole bad.
not gonna lie, when Ben died, that shit kind of changed. That made. I was like, oh shit, that was a story story.
Yeah.
But I said all that to say, my MVP is going to be the one and only Reginald Hargraves. He's
Reggie.
he's my MVP for the season, and he's my MVP for the show.
Okay.
You know,
I did like him in this.
dude killed it.
He was much better in this season. Yeah.
He was much better in the other season, but they never got him to. He never showed this side, or they never showed this side of a version of him in this show either.
Because he didn't have his wife.
He didn't have his wife in the other seasons, yeah, and so he was a lot hard nosed, a lot more hard nosed, but also soft in certain areas. So you saw him in the first season, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, he was the one. He was that dude. But I'm gonna let you go because there was no sense into the ending of this movie. I mean, this show. Him and his wife were sitting there on the bench.
Man. Yeah,
that actually made
that was
actual zero sense. But
that was very, very weird. Just to piggyback on what you said about Reginald, like I do really like him in this season, and I feel like in the first 3 seasons he was very much like Orson Welles in The Third Man, and just like that third that event character who just like you hear about him more than you see him, and like when you see him, it's very, very spotty and it's very effective, and it just speaks volumes. And they just like had him be a real character in this season. And he's a different person, like very like in the most literal,
but still the
form.
same.
It's the most human that Martian's ever been.
Right.
Yeah.
and we didn't stick on that long enough on this series, in the entire series. But
yeah, I feel like they didn't really touch on the alienness of it as much as they
was
should have.
And I was like, no, they don't explain it any more than what you've seen.
In the comic book, I think it's the 3rd page. I think it might be the first page where they say, "Oh, and he's a Martian," and then they just cut back to the kids.
Right. It's never really explained.
So wild. Yeah, but I liked the fact that they delved in a little bit more into his psyche, and his relationship with Victor. Like I thought him and Victor's relationship was really rad this season.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there.
My MVP, since I can't
for this season,
since I can't say Ritu Arya, I will say I'm gonna say I love Ritu Arya in this season. I thought that she was one of the best characters, and I thought that she had like a really great performance, and she was amazing.
Damn, nigga, we already said all that stuff.
We get it. We're all just in love with her because duh.
Put her in all the movies, Hollywood. What are you doing? But beyond that,
saving money.
Beyond that, like again, like I just like also want to say I like all of the actors from the Umbrella Academy. Like all the actors are really, really
Shout
good.
out to y'all. Shout out to y'all.
The MVP of this season, I really was about to say Ritu. I really don't know who my MVP of the season is gonna be. I'll say Victor because I really like. Again, I thought that he did like a really great performance. He seemed very comfortable and relaxed, and I liked how his interactions were with Reginald, and just like him, Reginald seeing Victor in a different light, and Victor seeing Reginald in a different light. They're just like them having that interaction with each other was really cool. The character kind of sucked. Like most of the characters sucked in this season.
The characters always sucked every season.
But I liked his performance a lot. Like there were a lot of moments I was like, damn, like he's acting his ass off right now. Like
so how about the overall show? But then how about the overall show?
Overall show, I would
can't say Rita.
Still can't say Rita. Yeah, like she's. Yeah, I would honestly only give her the MVP of this season if I were going to give her one. Because
nigga, you can't. Jesus Christ, you've done spent all this time talking about what you can and can't give her.
I know.
We know. That's why she's not on the board to be used. We know.
And honestly, if you're going to give her any season,
for no reason.
No, I took her off the board because everybody would have chose her. So therefore,
if you were going to MVP her any season, it should have been 2.
That
was the most character she had.
But yeah, but also I'm not gonna get into that.
But I would say MVP of the series is Robert Sheehan as Klaus. I think that
he was gonna be my honorable mention.
Yeah, like Robert Sheehan, he's great. I honestly I bumped up against him a lot in the first season because I
in
don't
real life.
I don't like, it's a pet peeve of mine when people don't like execute their accents like perfectly in shows. And like in that for like the first 3 episodes, I was like legitimately like, why is this the only person who's Scottish and everybody else is American?
They're all.
But then I realized
the world, though.
They're from all over the world. Yeah.
But as you know, as it goes on, everybody has an American accent, including Robert Sheehan, and he doesn't have like that little Scottish. Like there are times where his accent slips a little bit in the first season, but his accent is like gets way better as the season goes on, and his acting is always incredible. Like he's always very empathetic and charismatic, and just like a fucking goofball. Fell in love with him in Misfits. And
you might have to actually watch season 2 where he's the leader of a sex cult.
Yeah, I saw 2 episodes from that season.
I do have one important question for you, Alex. Did you watch the Footloose scene?
No. Wait, no.
What Footloose scene? What Footloose?
Was this in season
The
2?
beginning of season 3. One of the Sparrow's powers is they can cause hallucinations. So, like, the umbrellas and the Sparrows are meeting each other in the first episode. And Diego's like, yeah, we're going to fight. And then Luther and the leader of the Sparrows are like, all right, dance off. And then literally everyone dances to Footloose, and it's fucking amazing.
That's
he says amazing, awesome. Where I say pointless, stupid, and had nothing to contributed nothing to the story. Another 10 minutes we could have spent on actually explaining something that we don't fucking know yet. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Why would we do that? Why would we bother explaining stuff that we don't that we're going to talk about in this show?
Because when you explain stuff, you don't get a dance off, bruh.
That's right. I also hated the magicians for doing shit like that.
Yeah.
One episode of a season, we get a musical number.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance with like having the silly stuff. Like there's one of the things I thought about in the first season of me. There was a scene where Mary J. Blige's character and the other guy who falls in love with the donut lady in the first season. Those two also bad acting. I didn't. Those are the only 2 actors in the all of Umbrella Academy that I didn't really enjoy. But I did really like that scene where they get high and they're like dancing in the facility before they burn it down. But I thought it lasted like long. You know what I mean?
Everything on this show.
You might feel that same way about Footloose. I think they do the entire song.
Oh shit!
It's amazing.
I was like, oh, this is funny, and then I was like, okay, it's still going.
By the way, Cha-Cha and Hazel.
Cha-Cha and Hazel, yes.
Yeah. I don't know why you were hating on Hazel though. You're tripping.
Yeah, Hazel.
Hazel.
If you like old dude from Parks and Rec, but you didn't like his performance, then you're just hating.
I think that Hazel you like a lot better in season 2. So I think that might be a part of it, that he just didn't actually see enough of him.
Yeah, I like Hazel. He was dope. Too. He was good in season 1.
He has some good moments.
Should we talk about it?
Let's talk about the ending, okay? Because I'm really fucking pissed off about the ending, okay? So
there was one thing I liked about it.
What they supposed to save Ben, get Ben away from this crazy girl, Jennifer.
Oh, Benifer.
Oh man.
So I'm surprised they did that.
Surprised they did what?
Because Benifer is like a big famous thing with Ben Affleck and
that's like one of the first celebrity couple names.
Yeah,
like smash ups.
I do that.
Well, yeah. So, but anyway, she is controlling his mind somehow, keeping him with her.
They got
that's what they've
pheromones.
Said. That's what they've said. At least there was never said. She never said that. He never felt that. They never conveyed that. Yeah. But anyway, he Victor decides, hey, I can suck all the marigold out of him, and then
which he did do to someone else in season 3. So
season 2.
Was it season 2? I thought it was 3.
Oh, it was season. Well, she took some out of him in season 2. I thought some. Anyway, she definitely took all of it out of that stupid kid. Oh man, that was so stupid. Oh, that storyline was so dumb. But anyway, she had already done that before. So then, like, Victor does it, pulls it all out of him. Right. that's what's gonna happen here. We're gonna just recreate that. I can get his power up out of him, and we can save everybody. It'll be just fine. But what I realized is in that moment that is kind of beautiful. That she is all. I mean, the victor is always the one that's fucking up everything. So, and like every single time. So I was like, you know what? What they did with the hey, we're the ones that are the problem. When 5 figures out, hey, we're the ones that are the problem. We're the ones fucking up. We got to get rid of ourselves. Well, I like that mindset that we're the problem, but like their solution doesn't scientifically make any sense.
Yeah, the solution.
We're going to get rid of ourselves. And then for some reason, when we die, everything will just restart into some other thing and we just won't have existed. Well, it's like, okay, you will die, and then this monster dies.
Yeah. And now life is just this park with a bunch of white
and
changes.
I mean, I also just hated the idea like there can only be one timeline. Like, no. That alone, I'm just like, I was pushing back on. But yeah, like they tried explaining like, well, the D'Artagnans. I don't remember what the stupid fuck name they gave for the anti-marigold.
Oh, it was Durango.
The Durangos.
I heard that. Is that the same? Is that the name of the car? Is that the name of the SUV from The Simpsons?
Right.
Orange bot.
You could at the very least name it like
Canyon Arrow.
Find something in fucking nature that's the opposite of a marigold. I don't know, petunias, whatever, but still. Yeah, that was just stupid. And like, I get it. The entire point is like, we have to take the marigolds out of existence, but it's like, okay, but that's not going to reset a timeline. Like, if say that still deletes all the other timelines, which I think is stupid,
right?
But it doesn't reset yours.
Exactly. So then they're telling the kids like they take the family, and they're like, oh, we're gonna put the family on the subway,
right.
And somehow
the subway's about to go bye.
And you literally see it all the train tracks just disappearing on the subway, and then we'll map of the subways. It just all disappearing. I was like, why the hell did they just send them to their death? Because they just sent them to like maybe they survive in this timeline, but no, because guess what? If these guys are gonna let's just say that everything like Jeff said, let's say everything that they say is how it's supposed to go down.
Right.
Okay, like they absorb the monster to cancel out the marigold, and then
the Durangos. It's a stupid word. We should have to say it every time.
And then they end up flashing everything away, and everything goes back to how it was supposed to be in August 2006.
Yeah, August 8th, 2024.
Yeah, exactly. So no.
Well, that's what they
August
said.
8th, 2000. Yeah, on August 8th, 2000 and whatever 2003 or whatever. That didn't happen. Now everybody's just gonna not be existing which is dumb because those mothers were still pregnant with those children.
Right.
So therefore, all of these people should still be born. They just would be born without powers and a terrible father and trauma. But so there's that. But then how would their family exist if they never exist to create said family?
Yeah, like
what's that? The Time Machine, the entire point of one of the original time travel books.
Yeah, and it would have been like they could have explained it in a very simple line where Ritu Arya, real MVP, would have said that like maybe 5 is like, that's not gonna like save them at the end, like all this is gonna erase them from existence. And Ritu could have been like, it's just like a matter of hope. Like, well, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I hope that it will.
Absolutely. You know what else they could have done? They could have gotten on one of the trains, gone back to when the marigolds first happened, and then let themselves get eaten. Could have do that?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It just didn't make any sense that they had to all die. That was dumb as fuck.
The only thing I liked about it, if they did die.
Well, this is my thing.
I just liked that they didn't do the like, but maybe they're still around and like they're running through the park. Like, no, if you're gonna kill them, kill them. Don't give me the maybe.
I was expecting to see them in the park.
I was worried we were going to.
We should have seen them as babies. We should not. That to me is how it should have ended. If the science behind what you're saying is your solution to the chaos that you've caused as a problem, then our heroes should be able to solve that by and then it still exists without powers, because the marigold didn't create them. That is the reason that they were able to get powers, is because they were in their mother's womb.
Right. And then like the marigold doesn't have any multiversal implications itself. So like the logistics are very spotty. But let's talk about the final or
I forgot one other part though. How about his old Martian wife being like, we can't let them like make these choices for everyone. It's like, that's what you're doing right now. You're sitting here like, we can't make their choices for them. Or I forgot, there was literally a quote where I forgot what it was, but it was like, oh no, it's you can't make that. She was telling Reginald, you can't make their choices for them. And it's like, that's what you're doing. Yeah, that's what you are currently doing.
That was so goddamn stupid. That was like one of my least favorite. I just tried to pretend that didn't happen because
me too. Until I saw it again, I thought about it. The only thing I thought about that she could have been assuming is like, if you just assume that she and Hargraves both know what's about to happen afterwards, like that the kids are gonna come together, sacrifice themselves, and then it'll reset their timeline.
Wait, so does that mean they're still stuck on Mars?
Well, no, if
they're Martians.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, no, but they're not still stuck on Mars because Mars was destroyed. Remember, that's what happened. That's why they had to leave and come to Earth. But then they're not even really on Earth because remember, Reginald created he had a bridge to another dimension that took him over because they destroyed their Earth. They destroyed their entire dimension, and they had to jump in the hotel and go across to the other dimension, which is why they ended up where they fucking are in 1996. But then what's his name? Hargraves reset the timeline, or Allison did after she killed Hargraves. He set it up. But then, boom, reset. And that's, to me, the crazy part. Every season got to end with something stupid. You be like, man, why did they do that? And they didn't let you down. But you wanted to talk about the
post-credit scenes with the marigolds growing.
Oh yeah, the post-credit scene with the marigolds growing. Let's talk about that for
the marigold, the flower, not the brightly growing particle you would clearly see in sake.
In your black shot glass. No, the post-credit scenes where the marigolds grow is like a dope fucking novel,
right?
Like an old novel.
It sounds like this is a fiction book that was written by the lead singer of the Mamas and the Papas.
It's like Robert Frost wrote.
But I kind of saw this scene as just like a sort more what you call it, figurative, metaphorical. Just like this is like the sort of just like a visual representation of all of the things that have happened in these last 4 seasons, rather than just like a teaser that, oh, maybe somebody's going to eat this flower and they're going to get superpowers or anything.
Oh, I didn't take it as that at all. I'm sorry. I did not take it as the second part of your sentence. I didn't think that like someone's going to get powers from it. I think it's exactly what you said before. It's just oh, hey, they sacrificed themselves. They're not alive, but they're still together in death or some shit.
Well, yes, the thing is you can't destroy matter, right? Like matter can't be destroyed, so they just come back as something
only altered.
Only altered.
Only altered carbon.
I mean, it can become energy.
Damn, I didn't get to ask Brett Chan about altered carbon.
Yeah, I mean, the dude has done a million different
But
things.
That was my motherfucking show, nigga.
You gotta have him back on.
Damn, shout out to Brett. What's up, Brett?
Yeah,
We know you're
Yes,
watching.
yeah. We interviewed legendary stunt coordinator Britt Chan.
I don't know if he's been watching this
interview's
long,
gonna
but
be coming out on Wednesday.
He was the homie, so he probably is watching this long because he's a nerd too. You know what I'm saying? Be chilling. They don't be talking, but
He be
they
chilling.
be watching. He told us he watched our shit one time. He was like, "Yeah, I checked y'all out."
That's dope.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
You know what was not pretty cool?
this
show.
this show.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys like.
Hold on. No, I'm gonna ask him because I don't know. He probably asked the same thing. How did this? How much did this weigh on your opinion of the entire series this season?
I'm basically pretending this season doesn't exist. Again, this season, I was very happy with the beginning of it. I thought that was great. I think they did a couple things right throughout the season, but they rushed the ending so badly that it just, I mean, no. And it's, I think season 3 might still be my favorite. I think it goes 3-2-1-4 for me.
I think it's 3-1-2-4.
Yeah. And I just was not happy with I feel like they just did a big disservice with the way they finished this season.
Yeah, I'm interested to find out the scuttlebutt behind everything, you know.
By the way,
Yeah.
the final episode is the worst rated in the entire series.
God damn.
God damn.
That's another drop we need. How did you feel about the season? And do you have a ranking as far as like your favorite seasons of the show?
We just did that.
I listened to it.
Y'all both.
His was 3-1-2-4.
Mine was 3-1-2-4.
Mine's 3-2-1-4.
2-1-4. What would you say?
You
didn't watch it. Shut up.
His is 1-4.
Fuck you.
Why don't I just go fuck myself?
I did. I enjoyed a lot of this season up until like the last couple of episodes because again, like I thought the pacing was improved from previous seasons. I thought that Robert Sheehan's accent was improved. I thought Luther's accent was improved.
They also didn't give us enough of Klaus in this last season.
Luther is British.
Focus more on Klaus, man. Instead of just making him a sex doll.
Yeah, they did too much of that with Klaus in the series, and yeah, they should have focused more on him because he had a power that was actually
awesome.
One of his powers, yeah.
It's a tough character to work with when you are dealing with an ensemble because you really got to dive into what's going on with that guy. He's action packed with issues.
Yes.
But I on the whole, I enjoyed the series. Not the greatest ending, but I wouldn't see it as like the monumental failure of Game of Thrones. You know, comparatively, like
some people would say Sopranos. Some people hated Sopranos.
Some people hated Sopranos. Yeah, endings are hard. Endings are very, very hard. I don't feel like this was the worst ending of all time, but it definitely was pretty disappointing.
You know the only endings that aren't hard?
What?
Happy endings.
Hey yo, at least they're not hard toward the end.
That's right.
I don't know. The last episode of Happy Endings was pretty upsetting because they just canceled it. It was a good show.
I heard it was really good.
The show.
I heard that there were a lot of.
The standard sitcom.
I was just making a jack off joke,
but it had some great actors in it.
Oh yeah, man. A lot of great comedic actors. That's one of the things that made me intrigued about it. But like when it got canceled after its like third season, I was like, I feel like I shouldn't watch it.
Man, go ahead and do what you're about to do.
But for no apparent reason, we're gonna have Ritu Arya here for our
she
finale.
is stunning.
Stunning.
We are never gonna get her on the show with all of this pining.
I mean, I don't care about that.
I do. How am I going to convince her to love me?
I definitely care about having her on the show and her not thinking we're weird. That's cool.
Oh, I got bad news. There was no way she wasn't gonna think we were weird.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you can watch this show for 15 seconds at any given time, and you know that we're weird. But Jeff, before we get out of here, do you want to know tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs?
Oh, of course. You can always try and Skype me at Don Chilo's driveway at littledickie2.com. It's because of the hackers.
It's because of the hackers.
You don't think Rita's gonna hear that and think we're weird as fuck? Anyway.
No, I meant weird like James Vance. Weird or no, what's his name?
JD Vance.
JD Vance.
JD Couch fucking Vance.
It sounds like yeah, couch fucking Vance. Yeah, exactly. There you
go. You can find me at Madel Jeff on Instagram, at Jeff Madel on Facebook, but the easiest is always just come here and watch me talk shit on Monday nights. You're muted. This is awkward.
It's the easiest way.
There we go.
But not the only way for you to find him.
Yeah, you can also find them in the streets. If you're really diligent, you can do some super stalking. But Bill, you want to tell people where they can find you on the interwebs?
Well, sir, you can find me rolling on dubs on every Thursday on the Drunk Banthas channel, Nerds at Night channel, doing the Bantha Bunch show at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Everywhere you get podcasts and YouTube. Some countries don't have it, I guess, maybe. But if you got
maybe.
China don't got YouTube.
China, no China YouTube, but you got YouTube if you're in China. You know what I'm talking about? I see you out there.
You know how to watch.
Shout out to NordVPN.
Yeah, I was about to say.
What's up, Surf Shark?
Exactly, man. And yeah, speaking of what's up, man, shout out to everybody who was doing it down in the chat. Shout out to Fifth Bantha. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to Othelia's. Shout out to Talking Turd. TT. And there was some other people in there. Little Frothy. Down there, Yards. And anybody, if I miss somebody, man, I'm sorry. You know, I'm really busy. We're busy people. But if you didn't get to see this live, please put it in the chat. Any thoughts you got, man? And if you hated this, put it in the chat as well. But
yeah, however you felt, just let us know.
Yeah, it'd be people I feel like they comment and they don't say that they hated it, but they hated it.
Oh, we know.
We know. The internet always knows. Ritu is always watching, and she always knows. I just want an excuse to bring her up again. Thank you guys for listening to the Drunk Banthas podcast. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific time. But don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get updates on new videos. Check us out on Twitter, IG, TikTok, Letterboxd, likewise, all the internet things at the Drunk Banthas. Until next time, stay safe, my little vault hunters, and may the force be with you.
Yeah, you funky.